Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yours.
Welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss. Look who's starting it all off, it's Raven. No one necessarily figured out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from Payton. It's just going to solidify everything when they goes.
Does come back and Arsari against the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsari right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're going to be able to find these shots true.
Inu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Anvil, immediately goes back to fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3, so back and forth.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Console Gaming League. We are here for the mid-season playoffs in the NAGM tier. I am Joker. That is to try hard right, and we've got a good one to start us off here. RRG Varsity versus Unknown Origin. Raymond, I can't hear you.
Taking a little sojourn into the mid-season, the GM mid-season. The top 4 ended up making it here, so this is the semifinals. And keep in mind, with mid-season, there is no losers bracket. So one will be moving on to the grand finals, the other will be going home, and I believe they'll get a map point in their favor as consolation for making the mid-season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's I think that's an extra map or something along those lines. I think an extra game is if you.
I know the winner gets an extra game. I think the losers get like different amounts
3
of
maps.
map
Yeah. I think that I also agree. I think that is the case. Should be a really good series of Overwatch today, though. I'm really excited to see these 2 teams come in. RRG Varsity returning from last season of CGL. Unknown Origin, though. I think this is one of their first seasons. Yeah. Well, they were created last August, but
origin is unknown.
Yeah, and I think their origin is unknown for CGL. Maybe some of them have played here before. Maybe they have not. should still be a good game nonetheless. We'll see who comes through as we've got bans to come in to this game to start it off. And I believe first ban coming in, well, I know first ban is coming in from RRG Varsity. And that is going to be, I believe, yep, the Ramatra ban coming through.
Yeah, given that we do know our first map in these playoffs, each round has a determined first map, and this is round 1 of the bracket. So first map will be Lijiang Towers. So unfortunately, I do think we're probably going to expect with Ram getting banned, not much more other than Mauga, given how brawly the map is. I believe our second ban coming in from Unknown Origin is going to be that Pharah, which is a common pick recently on these Lijiang Tower maps, now unavailable to both teams.
Yeah, good bans coming in from both of them. It really shows what you don't want to face, what you expect the other team maybe to play as well. Maybe you're thinking Unknown Origin. We're looking at that Ramatra. I think is doing a lot better than we're seeing right now in the current meta. Right, obviously we're seeing the Mauga, but I think Ram's in a good place too. So I guess why I see why they made that ban. I'm gonna be real with you. I guess it's Mac. That's who that is. No Nag, Piercing, Nene, and Guitar Bob 1 are is the roster for
I didn't
RRG.
catch that, Joker. What is the name of the?
I think it's Mac.
Mac. Okay.
M-A-K. Mac.
All right. Yeah, as you can see, that is our lineup for RRG Varsity. Very talented team making the mid-season here after a pretty good season they had last year in CGL. Ended up making the overall playoffs, and I believe I want to say they got to like the second round of the playoffs and then ended up losing out, but they had a pretty good season. Hoping to follow that up. Now let's go ahead and pull up Unknown Origins roster for you guys. As for them, we will be looking at Buddy and Bog on the DPS line with We're All Dead as the tank, which I love that name. And then Slickstrick and Starry Night for their support line.
I do want to correct you here, Ray, because it is kind of confusing. It is actually BDG instead of Bog. I know the D looks quite like an O.
I'm sorry, BDG. My bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it does look like an O, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That is a D.
I just wanted to let you know now.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I didn't even.
Before
It's crazy how similar those look.
Before we get into the game, and you're calling them Bog, and they hit a huge clip, and then they're called Bog.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Dump.
Would make for a funny meme for them, though.
It would. Like you said, we have a set map for the first map, right? In these mid-season tournaments. Round 1 happening to be Lijiang Tower. I've seen this map way too much doing Face It, and we're gonna see it a lot more here today.
I can't wait to see how this goes. As mentioned, because of the ban of Ramatra, I think that is going to cause a lot of Mauga on this map. So I think expect those compositions. No Pharah though, so I think, my guess with no Pharah is we see a lot of Tracer Genji possibly with the Mauga, but I'm very excited to see how the Pharah is going to affect things, especially on Gardens here, which is one of the best Pharah maps for Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, we'll have to see interesting though, Ray. Look at Unknown Origin. We're All Dead on the Reinhardt here. I don't know about it. We'll have to see if they're not just blown up immediately.
You love to see some classic Reinhardt Overwatch. It's a very honest form of Overwatch.
Very honest, but honestly, I don't know if they're going to be able to even walk into this point. And they do get there, but they're still taking damage from every which way. with the Symmetra coming in from RRG. Varsity not taking down those turrets quite just yet, and you're already so low. You have to back out. Need to get the healing. Point is going to go and get captured up by RRG to start it off, and now you can walk in. You've got that cardiac overdrive all ready to go, getting some nice damage. Still haven't been able to really walk in because we are all dead, always at half HP or lower. They're going to go pushing in now. Maywall comes through and still not going to be able to find anything quite just yet here for Unknown Origins. So really no picks coming through, as there's a pick though. No Nag's going to go down early. Right now the sound barrier going to be invested here, and you can definitely take this fight if you're Unknown Origin, if you are able to find another pick. Overclock though coming in from Mac to maybe start things off into the direction of RRG, but still haven't been really able to do that. No real healing, but we are all dead. Now gone for the wayside, but still, trades keep coming back and forth, and not really anyone's favor, but now the orbital ray going to be invested, and that's going to be all RRG needs to clean it up and keep things going up to 50% already.
Yeah, I'm watching that fight, Joker, and I'm watching that orbital ray get closer and closer. I'm like, Unknown Origin, you got to wrap up this fight. If this orbital ray goes down, it's over, because you're trading picks, you're doing good, but they just weren't able to clean up fast enough, and it's tough sledding. They do swap Starry Night over to the Ana, but when you're playing Reinhardt, if you're going to play the Rein, you need so much healing to keep yourself up against this Mauga. You're not going to have that with the Ana, so you have to capitalize and go even faster and capitalize off anti-nades.
Shatter gonna come through, gonna connect to Piercing. The Photon Barrier gonna come through, keep Mac and Piercing alive for the meanwhile. Anti-Nade gonna stop Piercing for a moment, but we are all dead again, going dead. But you're gonna find a couple shots here, thanks to that Blizzard. Now you've got 3 picks, but you could definitely turn this fight into Unknown Origin's favor, especially with that Anti-Nade taking down Piercing. And RRG, well, now up to 97%, but Unknown Origin in control of the point.
Yeah, for Unknown Origin, you're going to have to be absolutely perfect the rest of the way. They will have an overclock to work with nothing to impede it other than Piercing putting down the cage as like a big shield, basically. But I'm sure RRG is going to look to go aggressive, dive in quickly, and throw down this cage. The good thing is Slipstreak has built up to the sound barrier.
Yeah, it's huge, right? Overclock gonna come in here from Buddy, though. Cage fight out. Piercing's dead. Sound barrier now coming online, and so you're at a real disadvantage here if you're RRG. You're gonna just have to back up, wait for Piercing to come back now.
Yeah, that's what we needed to see out of Unknown Origin. If they committed more than the overclock of the sound barrier, is going to be very bad for them. So the fact that they're going to be able to hold on to this nano for the next fight, whether they want to go for an offensive angle and try and find a quick pick, or Mac, who has this overclock in nano to try and save someone from dying to this overclock, you have something to work with.
Oh, wow, and Guitar already down. It's just not good at all. That's just not what you wanted to see, right? You're up to 63% now, and now you're thinking to yourself, right? Unknown Origin have a real good opportunity to maybe take this back out of the grasp of RRG.
Yeah, this is looking to be final fight for both teams, and BDG in the meantime is now built up to a blizzard because of these staggers.
Ooh, big pick though on the BDG now with the orbital ray online. That should be all they need to take it back, right? Piercing and combining for all you need in the world. Overtime ticking away in round 1, going to RRG. But again, like I said, it was getting a little nervous, get a little rack. It was kind of getting in that back of your head, right? RRG just couldn't get back into the point there. And Unknown Origin almost took it like out from under their feet there.
I did like swapping over to the Orisa. I think the Orisa is going to give you much more sustain and damage without needing. The Reinhardt can only keep himself alive by holding shield, and he can't swing and do damage while holding shield. Orisa at least has a Fortify, and when Fortify is active, you can sit there and shoot, and you have the Javelin spin or whatever. I think the Orisa is a better choice against the Mauga. So I think maybe if they were running Orisa from the get-go on that last map, it might have been a different story considering how close that was. And really, the only reason RRG was able to flip that was because Orbital Raid came online, and there's nothing they can do about it.
This is the first time I might be able to see the protective barrier come back from an Orisa here, right? I haven't been able to see it quite just yet. No one's been playing Orisa, right? So it'll be interesting to see if that comes through when they get up to their major perk, right? Or they might have probably gone with a charged javelin. We'll have to see if we get onto their POV. But right now, yeah, it looks like the charged javelin coming. Oh no, they don't even have their major perk quite just yet. So still waiting for that. Just good javelin throws, but RRG going to be coming in yet again with the point starting off. Trades onto the tanks though, but again, you've still got a lot of damage coming out from No Nag on this Symmetra, and going to be building up more and more percentage here for RRG.
Yeah, as you're forced to back out there. No Arista. I mean, yeah, you were down your Maga, but there was so much beam charge on No Nag. You couldn't even afford to push into that with no tank to absorb a lot of that damage. As Nene getting very close to this orbital array, it doesn't even really matter when you can just throw up a big photon barrier for No Nag and just poke away at the side of Unknown Origin.
Right. The good thing is, right, Slickest Direct gonna be able to come in with their own orbital array, but the photon barrier already on the board here, and they're gonna go down. Slickest Direct not gonna be able to be in this fight any longer, and now you know, RRG are above that 50% mark yet again. They've double support ultimates, and you're finding some late staggers here, some late kills. And you know what? You might even find this. Oh, wait, you're going to invest Terra Surge in here from We Are All Dead? You still are going to, you might go down. No! You find No Nag, and this is a perfect opportunity now to push if you're Unknown Origin. You have everyone back. You use your speed ring. Now you're pushing in, going for an overclock here from Buddy, and you're going to be able to take back this point. It would seem there is going to be a contest, right? Orbital Ray comes in, Sound Barrier there as well, but Ray in comes late from Slickest Wreck. And there's a pick onto Piercing as wow. You invest so much into that from RRG, and you still end up losing the fight out.
I mean, really, they invested Sound Barrier and Orbital Ray, but you got the Orbital Ray commit out of Unknown Origin too. So I think, all things considered, it's okay if you're RG. You got that all the way up to 93% too, so you get it into one fight territory. The one thing you wish you had, you know, maybe you wish you had that Sound Barrier because you're going to be facing down BDG's Blizzard, but you still have Overclock, you still have Cage, you have a lot of tools of engagement.
Yeah, you do indeed. You have this cage fight available, Overclock as well, but you're walking into this Blizzard. BDG could be the difference maker here in this fight. We see it before, and we could see it again. That's why they're looking at him immediately, but Matt goes down. You just have to reset, right? But we're not going to see that. Nano Boost is going to come, or sorry, Terra Surge is going to come in there. My screen is black now.
So is mine.
We lost observer feed. No, what a good. That was just right at the fight too. Oh, I'm so sad. Let's see here. What we missed. Who's back in control? Still Unknown Origin in control for right now. There's the cage fight coming in, but there's this Blizzard in response. Overclocked Mac back, taking an attack from the angle here. This Buddy is going to find a pick of their own, but the Ray back online here for RRG to really clean up the remaining members of Unknown Origin. Overclock comes in from Buddy, though. You might still be able to win this fight if you're Unknown Origins, as Buddy just keeps on finding picks here, but you're going to get chased down, taken out. Guitar Bob with the kill. We are all dead. Swapping to Doomfist, trying to get back to the point here, but I don't think anyone's going to be able to touch Ray, as map 1 goes to RRG.
Very close between both of these teams. Despite a 2-0 victory, both points essentially got to this. I mean, second point was essentially, you know, 85-99, and then first point was like 85-99. So for the side of RRG, you got the victory, but man, that was very close. You can't afford to relax because Unknown Origin is playing very well, and they're capitalizing on some mistakes you're making. So you got to make sure you play cleanly the rest of the way if you want to move on to the grand finals.
Yeah, definitely, right? And speaking of which, funnily enough, you know, the after this game, right, we're streaming the other game for NAGM on this exact channel. So if you have a vested interest in the NAGM division, stick around for that game after this one. As we have, oh, that's the bracket enhance. It is quite small, but it gets the job done, right? Big Tartar fan is the
Guitar fan.
T-Tar fan. My fault.
Someone doesn't know their Pokemon.
I don't. And then University of Toronto is the game after this. So you make sure to follow and just stick around, right?
You have to keep in mind, big TT Tar fan, defending champs of the GM division, hoping to continue their winning ways in the midseason and hopefully make themselves back-to-back champs later on. But it all starts here in the midseason.
It does indeed. It does indeed. Is now, right? We've got losers picks map and type as well.
Mode,
so
yeah.
We're headed in to Escort. We're headed in to Dorado here, right?
Which is interesting because Dorado, we pretty much know, is a very dive-centric map. So your Winstons, your Hazards, your Divas of the world, maybe your Wrecking Balls, if you know you're one of the 3 NA Wrecking Ball players. When it comes to this, I think the bans are going to be extremely important. Like, if Winston's banned, I think this is one of Winston's best maps. It's Watchpoint, Gibraltar, and Dorado. So if Winston gets banned by one of these teams, then it really opens the floor to what's your team's favorite flavor between like the Diva, between the Hazard, between the Wrecking Ball. And then the DPS to go along with it if we look to do that. And that's the thing with Winston, you almost always want an Ana. So if there's an Ana ban, that also might deter the ability to play Winston as well. So I think for a map like Dorado, the bans are ultra important.
Yeah, we'll have to see here. We've got, and it looks like we're actually having a substitution come in for the side of RRG here, as Virus is coming in for Guitar Bob. Interesting. So they're a flex support player coming in for a main support player. So, you know, we might be seeing double flex. We might be seeing that Ana come through from maybe Virus here.
I think the answer to that question is ultimately going to be determined by what we see coming from these bans from both of the teams. So we're about to find out shortly what those are. For Unknown, it looks like they're going to ban Diva. So Winston is still on the table. I think, you know, the ability to play Winston on Dorado is going to be big. Like, unless Ana gets banned here, I think there's a good chance we see that. With the Brig ban, that's interesting because you can still play Ana, but what do you look to play with the Ana? Because Brig is normally like that older sister who's like the big protector of Ana. I mean, despite Ana's the older one, but the Brig's always the protector of the Ana. So what do you look to pair with the Ana for the Winston comps?
You know, I've been seeing a little bit of like Ana Juno, right? We saw it a little bit there on the that last map from Unknown Origin. So maybe we see that come out. Maybe a Kiriko as well, just for cleanse effects and just because, I mean, I
think those are the two most likely. I think it kind of depends. I think with the Juno, the orbital rays are very important, but the Ana Juno is going to be a lot more vulnerable and diveable from that end of the Winston. Kiri can always TP out there, has Suzu to protect if needed. It just depends what your team is valuing coming into this. As now we see loading up, we do see the Winston coming out from the defenders, which is RRG. Both teams highlighting it. This is really interesting. We have been seeing, even in the likes of OWCS and Collegiate, more Bastion play recently. And we see no nag on that to go along with the Ash. The Ash isn't surprising. Hit scan Ash on Dorado, that's kind of like, expected. but the Bastion really cool.
Do you think it has to do with the perks, right? I mean, you get self repair back with your major perk, right? And then, I mean, if you don't want to go with that, you get you basically get a grenade launcher with the Lindholm explosives perk. With the assault weapons slowly fire explosive shells into it instead of a rotary cannon, but. You know what? We don't need to keep talking about that. We need to talk about Piercing finding Buddy already in the fight here. And now RRG setting up well, but you might lose Mac here as BDG is going to find that pick with the Tracer. Nice little look for them here. Seems to be one of their favorite heroes to play, and hopefully we get a good show from him. There's no nag already in that tank configuration. And we're going to have to back up for the moment.
It seems like a big mistake positionally there from Mac, who is going to swap over to the Tracer now. So, you know, no hit scan needed. That's going to be the issue for We're All Dead, is having to play your positioning very well and making sure you play around this tank configuration of no nag, because you'll get blown up in an instant by that.
Yeah, definitely is. Piercing's gonna get caught. Though they do lose Buddy, right? But again, that is just it's just not the trade you wanted to see, right? That Winston is so important to this composition. Slept up, anti-nade does come through, but you have the pulse bomb available from BDG. The stick comes through, but it's not gonna matter because the pick already came in. And Unknown Origin gonna be able to probably get this first capture going.
Yeah, with those late staggers onto Mac, we see No Nag getting off the Bastion, going over the Torb, which again, Torb is another hero we've seen a lot of success with. It, however, has been in compositions with the Wrecking Ball and off the Winston, as we're going to see the first point capped. Still both the support ultimates available for Unknown Origin. Oh man, Joker. Unknown coming in this map on the Winston, and they look like, you know, this is what they're comfortable playing.
Yeah, they're looking really comfortable, right? I mean, it makes sense. It's We're All Dead's most played hero and favorite hero, so it's good that they're showing up. Nano Boost is going to come in here onto We Are All Dead. Sleep Dart, though, comes through, and Starry Night might get caught. Primal Rage invested now, though, but you're going to find no one with it. You're going to find some good anti-nade there. And you're going to be able to find him that sniper of with the Tesla cannon. Piercing takes them down. Piercing might lose their life because they get that trade, take that trade. And so, still, it's Unknown Origin that are going to come out in the winner's seat, in the winner's chair.
And they're making pretty good time, just under 3.5 minutes. They still have a sound barrier to work with. Anti-Nade does hit their Lucio, but they're able to get out just fine. And We're All Dead gets the pick onto Nene, so all the healings off the board for the side of RRG. It just feels like it doesn't know if they're all spread out too much, but their positioning is just getting capitalized on.
I mean, you still have Varus, right? You have this orbital ray, but like, they're not taking engagements together, so yeah, I mean, you're gonna find Mac finally, and Starry Night's gonna go down. Mac coming alive for RRG when they needed the most, and now another pick comes in from them, and now RRG are able to say they won the fight, and now they can start their defense.
Yeah, no ult commit either. You didn't have to use that orbital range. You mentioned they had it online, so now they can capitalize that with a lot of incoming ults. You get the nano, you get the primal rage. So again, it's just making sure you put yourself in a good, advantageous position on the high ground here, and just making sure you do these dives together, making sure you're not all stagnated.
Ray comes through. Starry Night's gonna get caught out. Now Molten Core on the floor, and Piercing's doing their job in the front line. Wow, this dynamic duo of Mac and Piercing doing great work here now on the second point defense.
That's the kind of ult rotation you want to see. Win the fight, only commit 2. Mac getting very low as well, able to get out just in time. BDG can come in with the pulse bomb for this next fight, and Starry Night will be able to look to nano somebody. I'm assuming they also have the self nano perk on themselves as well. So this is an opportunity for Unknown Origin to hopefully get the momentum back in their favor.
Losing Piercing early, but hey, the picks come back in as, I mean, my goodness, Mac just continuing to put on a show on this Tracer here for RRG. I mean, goodness gracious, are we watching proper? I don't know what's going on here for RRG, but they've locked in, it seems.
Yeah, Mac has come alive on this Tracer. Was on the Ashe to begin with, but ever since they swapped to this Tracer, it's been money pulse bomb available. Looked like they wanted to go for it, but they didn't get the landing how they wanted to be able to place that, but they're not going to need it anyway. They get Buddy down.
Yeah, the self nano activated here, and Piercing is going to have to force Primal Rage to stay alive thanks to that anti-nade that came in from Starry Night. Finds that pick there as well. So, you know, you're sitting pretty. BDG does find an Ana pick, but it's just a consolation prize. It's not going to really matter. You're already in this defensive positioning, and Nonag finds a late one, right? 30 seconds to go. You don't have anything but this pulse bomb available.
Yeah, we do see Starry Night, who's on the Kiriko now, but man, as I mentioned, I feel like Ana feels so necessary in these Winston-based dive compositions. I mean, you have the ability to cleanse the Ana, maybe they just feel Nene's nades have been that devastating.
And Slickest Rick already down, and then there goes Starry Night as well. She's just all but over here. You're gonna find his pulse bomb stick on to Piercing, but it's just not gonna matter. Mac with a cleanup, and RRG, as Mac kills themselves with their pulse bomb. RRG is gonna take a good second point defense there.
I think it was a little worrisome after first point and like half of second, but as soon as RRG was able to win that fight, start setting themselves up defensively on high ground, then their teamwork really started to show. They started to capitalize on these dives very well, and they're back to what they were looking like on map number 1. For the side of Unknown Origin, it feels like, you know, they took advantage of a somewhat scattered RRG on the first point and were able to capitalize and get the point pretty quickly. But after that, it was getting rough. It feels like you need to take some time, talk through how you want to engage on these dives, because communication is so important for these dives. You got to make sure you're counting down your 3, 2, 1. So Winston's going in. Winston's going to drop bubble. You got to have the support for them, and then, you know, back out when you need to. It's so important.
It really is. It really is indeed. And now, right, we're going to see Nonag pull out the Widowmaker here. Wasn't expecting that. Was expecting maybe Mac brings it back, but I mean, why take him off the Tracer when they're doing that well?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it is the old adage. First point, Ashe, even for the side of Unknown Origin, didn't go as well for Mac, so we'll have to see if Buddy can make it work. And already, We're All Dead has slept.
Yeah, We're All Dead already slept up there, but we'll see if that can continue. Here's Nonag finds that shot, and you know, this defense is already starting off, or this offense, sorry, is already starting off well for RRG. You are going to get anteed up, but it's not going to matter. You don't go down. You're going to get healed. Maybe Piercing? Okay. Does go down in that fight. You lose Starry Night, but the trades are there for Unknown Origin to keep a hold going.
As the minute's already been taken off the clock, this first point can be a tough slug and go, especially trying to get it through under this bridge right here. As we see RRG, We Are Dead did mess up the jump there, so there was an opportunity for them to take advantage. Already half health. They finally get under the bridge.
Yeah, they get under the bridge, right? Underneath the bridge, something sprung a leak, right? Nirvana references and whatnot. Piercing is going to go down. And, though, so, I mean, you know, Unknown Origin are going to be able to come back with a nice engage. Takes down Nene as well, right? So, you're sitting pretty now. If you're on an Origin, down to 2 minutes 20 on the board.
As we see No Nag, who was on the Widow, now swapping over to the Reaper, hoping to apply more pressure, especially onto We're All Dead. The issue is it's going to be really hard as a Reaper to try and deal with this Tracer and this Ashe. I mean, you're going to have to use a lot of cooldowns to be able to apply pressure.
Yeah, you gotta come into this here. Nanoboost is gonna come in though onto We're All Dead. The Pulse Bomb stick is there on the Slickus Rick, and you might find the pick onto Buddy too. No Nag has made the swap over to the Reaper, trying to deal with this Winston specifically, right? And also, you're able to do some good, consistent frontline damage, but the trade back. Primal Rage now invested here by We're All Dead. You definitely have an opportunity to take this fight as Varus is going to get caught. Primal Rage down, and, you know, now you have your respawns coming back. You're finding these picks, right? You're going to have to force Primal out from piercing to stay alive, but you're just going to reset with it.
Yeah, it felt like they allowed We're All Dead to just sit in the backline very low. They didn't go finish him off or at least force out that Primal earlier and just let him engage with how they wanted to while their team was coming back. And now Buddy has the available to throw the Bob in. There it goes.
Bob gonna come through. Nano Boost there as well from Nene onto Piercing. Oh, Mac almost found that one clip onto Buddy. Not able to confirm the kill though. Still waiting it out. Still need to finish this fight up. 40 seconds to go into this engagement. Now Ray on from Virus. Piercing is very low. Needs to get the heals to stay alive. Into this, and the Death Blossom seals the deal. And that is going to be RRG having a new lease on life.
Yeah, not a whole lot you can do about an Orbital Ray Death Blossom. That is just so much damage. RRG, you know, pressed Q, got the combinations perfectly, and able to cap the first point. But I mean, it wasn't like an inspiring first point capture. I mean, they were slugging and fighting. Unknown Origin has found their footing.
Is now. Mac has a Pulse Bomb available yet again. We'll see if they can make something happen with it. BDG has one as well, and you're going to lose Nene just like that. So you're going to have to reset. You're not going to... you might have to reset here. Oh, yeah, you do. PDG with the Pulse Bomb kill on a 2. And, well, Unknown Origin start their claim on point 2 for the defense.
Yeah, BDG coming through, big Pulse Bomb, and be able to wrap up a fight with a ult like the Pulse Bomb and not need any other kind of follow-up is massive. So now you're going to come in just above a minute and a half left on the clock, and you're going to have 4 ultimates while RG really only looking at a Nano and a Winston ult.
Nano Boost gonna come in from both of them, but the self Nano alt perk already up from Starry Night. Piercing's gonna go in, go forward, and you're gonna be able to find nice plays coming in with your own Primal Rage. But so is We're All Dead. They found 2, but they're so low right now. You need to get some healing, and I don't know if they've got the capability to do so without their Ana here at the moment. There's the Pulsar Torpedo kill, and now RRG. Well, you need to be moving the cart right now. You're going to be starting to move it up.
We're going to take one more team fight win as we do see Mac, who swapped over to the Echo as well. Things are going to get tough because Buddy has an overclock. So if you're Mac, you got to be very careful. But things can be ended here, Joker. Once again, they have the Death Blossom Orbital Ray combo.
Overclock takes down Piercing. 30 seconds to go. A full-on reset has to come in. You might be able to take down Buddy. Not going to be able to do so quite just yet. So, I mean, you're down to 20 seconds here, Ray. It's not looking too hot for RRG, but they definitely can hold and take this.
Yeah, I mean, how they finished off the first point was with the Orbital Ray Death Blossom. Have that online. The only thing is this time, Slickstrix. Oh, no, Orbital Ray!
Ray Jax on the board. BDG up to the task. you still have Death Blossom, I mean, you're going to get some damage here, but the nice boop away, and now you've lost an NA. You might lose some more. You're All Dead is really low, though, so, hey, this could still keep going into the favor of RRG. We're All Dead needs to get health. They do, but Slickest Rick now down for the count. Still opportunity, still picks to be had. And it's still anyone's fight to be had as the Reaper doing its work, cleaving its way through the HP of that Winston, finally taking them down. Buddy's now gone. There's the copy onto the Tracer from Mac to finish it all off, and the last kill has to be No Nag to take map number 2.
Swap over to the Reaper, pays dividends in the clutch, able to find the kills just when they need it. RRG able to put themselves on match point to send themselves to the grand finals.
Gross. Just good stuff from Mac here. This is their 4K, I think, if we get it there. Yeah, there's the 4K. We don't get the full all of it, but we still get some of it. Really good stuff from RRG, able to come in clutch when it matters most. They're right, and that is what we see from championship teams, right?
Yeah, being able to not only play when things are advantageous, but when you come in with a game plan, and you're like, man, this just is not working. Making the adaptation, going over to the Reaper, going over to the Echo, just so much frontline damage on this Winston. It was really hard for We're All Dead to be able to play, and they're able to capitalize in the end. Folks, RRG Varsity has taken a 2-0 lead. One more map, and they are in the grand finals for the mid-seasons. We're going to take a quick break, allow Unknown Origin to refocus and get ready for a potential reverse sweep. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. Huge shout out to XYBA. They made my my graphics for my stream for my Face It events. Really good stuff. Really good company. Make sure to hire them so they also hire me and Ray for your tournaments.
Yes, XYBA is amazing. And I don't have, threats on me to say that either.
Hey, mine was genuine. I don't know about Ray's.
No, mine's genuine. It's great, people. I just had to make a joke. We like to joke around here at CGL. Just a little bit of joking.
A little bit of joking with the Joker. I get you. I get you. See, I see where your mind's at. I see where it's at. Got another swap coming in for these sides. But we'll talk about that after the bans come through from these teams. Unknown banning first yet again. And what do you think? What do you think we're gonna see here?
I didn't really pay attention to the map, to be honest.
I don't know what the map is either. Oh,
Okay,
Blizzard
we have note that it's going to be Blizzard World. So based on that, I mean, Blizzard World's a pretty versatile map. You can make a lot of different compositions work on it. So I don't think I'm like, oh, Gibraltar, ban Winston, and figure out something else or blah blah blah. But we do see Mauga coming in, which it's not a surprise with how heavy the meta is right now with Mauga, but I don't think, this is the kind of map where I was expecting hard Mauga, so it's interesting that they went that direction.
Yeah, and then look at that. Ana ban coming in as well, so almost all also shutting down the Winston play that we could have seen for these first 2 points here.
Yeah, that's going to make things interesting. That's where we start seeing possible compositions of Juno Brig or in certain situations we've seen Kiri Juno, Lucio Kiri, Lucio Juno. So with that being said, with the way things go for a map like Blizzard, you can expect, possibly on defense on first point, we have seen a lot of pick where you play hit scan with a Sigma. You could also play, obviously Winston's not as good without the Ana, but you could still go with the Diva dive. And then offensively, you could still play ground and pound, if you want to go a Ramacha with a Lucy Kiri or a Lucio Juno kind of thing. Especially now that, Ram was banned on Lijiang Tower, so maybe one of these teams want to pull out the Ram out of their bag of tricks.
Yeah, we'll have to see, right? I still think Ram is pretty good, and then there's the substitution, right? Guitar Bob back in to the lobby here for Virus. Like I was saying though, right? I really feel like that Ramacha is sneaking good right now, right? I don't know if you agree with me there. I just think
no, I agree. I think of course, at your highest of highs, the Korean best players in the world, they're going to play whatever's most optimal, which right now has kind of been the Mauga. But when the Mauga hasn't been in play like that, and I think Ram has a great place. I saw it a lot in Collegiate the other day. And yeah, even when Mauga gets banned in OWCS, the Ram has been a high pick rate. So I think it's a very big chance we see that on Blizzard World.
I really think that Nemesis for him is really good right now. Oh my goodness, you see so many cleanups with those punches. And we'll have to see if we're seeing punches thrown or bullets coming out, or whatever. I don't know what Hazard throws at them. Energy, something, right?
He throws walls at you.
Walls, but what is the? I don't know. Hey, look at that. Hazard's coming out, and there's the Winston.
Defensively, I'm actually kind of surprised to see a Winston. I mean, if you're gonna run another comp with the Winston, it's gonna be the Lucio Kiri, but I just think it's not enough healing. I mean, it's really going to depend. I mean, going up against the Hazard, it's got its place, but if you don't effectively be able to protect your Winston, I mean that goes for any comp, but it's that much harder when you don't have an Ana to be able to throw nades and help Winston. That's the other thing. The anti-nades help Winston finish off kills so much easier. So finding kills is going to be a lot tougher too. As we see currently RRG rolling up on a Sigma composition. So they're going more pick style.
I don't hate the Sigma either, right? I just feel like Ramatra is just a better version of Sigma, just because you can play both that rush style and this pick as well. But you know what? It's working for RRG, right? They've already found a pick. They've already found 2 picks, and they're already pushing Unknown Origin to the limit here. And you're gonna get a quick first point capture coming in from RRG Varsity.
It's kind of how that goes when Winston dives in, you blow up the shield and hit him with an accretion rock, and they're just dead, nothing they can do. So if you're the side of we're all dead, you have to be extremely careful about where you jump in and how you place your shield and making sure you have easy escape routes, because if you get hit by that accretion, any good team's going to get you dead.
Ooh, another nice shot comes in there from Buddy. Now, you know, you're going to be back in control for Unknown Origin for the time being. Piercing's going to fall here late. And, yeah, Unknown Origin, you know, you have a terrible first point. But now you're looking to set up at this archway.
As we see already, Piercing getting off the Sigma and going over to the Winston. When it's a lot more crowded like this, especially on this choke, and you don't have a lot of room to be able, Sigma wants to play with room. He doesn't want people all up in his face. And when you're in a close quarter area like that, it's going to be tough to play that Sigma. So I think the swap is good, and they already find Starry Night.
And Buddy goes down as well there. So, you know, we're going to get quickly back into favor here. You do lose Mac a little bit late, but, you know, you'll take that trade. You'll take it, right? You get Mac pretty fast, back pretty fast, right? So you're not hating it.
And now for the side of Unknown Origin, because they're the ones who didn't swap their composition at all. I mean, you did get Buddy's overclock out, but you're going to have a lot more ultimates coming online right now. But this orbital array from Nene, with no looming sound barrier yet, could be absolutely devastating, but they're dead.
No. Yeah, they're dead already. And decidedly so. It's We're All Dead who found that pick, right? Now you're going to go diving in. You might be able to find Mac here pretty easily, and you do. BDG coming in with those pulse, or those blinks, takes him down, and now you're setting pretty here yet again for Unknown Origin.
Sorry, I think I was, disconnected there for a second. And now here we go. We're All Dead, popping, and they find Piercing.
Yeah, right. This is looking a lot better here for Unknown Origin. Don't really find much value with the Primal Rage, but you're still alive. That's all that matters. But the re-engage is already coming in from RRG. Counter dives coming through. Ray is out. BDG gonna get the pulse bomb out, but they still get smacked to death by the Lucio. Sound barrier comes in here now from Slickest Rick. You're gonna buy some time, buy some space, staying alive, but not for much longer as the Primal Rage comes through, cleans up a couple. Sound barrier comes through to, finish things off into favor of RRG.
And they're going to be able to cap the point. 4 minutes on the clock still for them. And this is what we've seen from RRG, is being able to make requisite swaps, going over to the Winston now, matching them and making things work. They did completely empty out their ult bank, but with how hard that second point can be to finish off, you'll take that.
Yes, now we'll have to see here. RRG, don't have anything in their back pocket right now, but that can all change with a pick on the slickest trick just like that. And well, you might even lose more. Yeah, you're going to disruptive shot now out. You're gonna have to force a reset from piercing, but you know what? It doesn't matter that your Winston's out front lining. You're still finding picks here, and No Nag is there as well, spawn camping pretty much right now. These respawns.
Yeah, they're just getting free cart distance, no pressure, continuously finding picks. The side of Unknown Origin has to find, they can't continue just staggering. They're gonna get the touch. Okay, they're gonna get trades now.
Yeah, we're gonna get trades. Nene is down, but is it gonna be enough to turn it back into their favor, right? That's the real question we're waiting for to be seen. And you know, you're buying time, and you might find another pick if you're BDG here. Still, this Tracer 1v1 happening. Overclock out from Buddy to try to lock things down, but you're not able to do that. You go down, and now you're giving RRG all the momentum back in their favor. You have Primal Rage if We're All Dead needs it. You might be able to find some picks with it, but a nice boop away, still waiting out. Kitsune Rush comes in, overclock there from Mac as well. They pick round one, Ray out, still now RRG in the driver's seat, in full control. Primal Rage had to be invested, but it's just not going to be enough to stall out. You're just losing everyone around them as the picks keep coming in. And this should wrap it up in a few short moments, the last couple of kills to come in.
Yeah, as We're All Dead is now dead, BDG goes back to the spawn room, just 0.33 meters, and it is complete with just under 2 minutes on the clock. But that, you know, standpoint of having over a minute on the clock is complete. So as long as they get them to at least overtime, even if they capture all three, you're either in a winner draw situation if you're RRG. So that is the perfect time bank to be able to hit.
Yeah, really good stuff, right? Like you said, a really good time bank, right? Because you're still above that minute. So if you can get them into overtime rounds, if that happens, right? If they complete all 3 points, if they get to overtime there, you're sitting pretty. You don't give them a chance to attack on their in overtime rounds. So obviously you'd like to have a lot bigger of time bank after that amazing first point attack, but you're still taking it, right? I mean, I've already given you the reasons why it was good, and now you've set yourselves up to take the series here.
As now, Unknown Origin facing going home has to complete all 3 points here. I mean, both the last two maps were extremely close, so it's not like they've been getting destroyed or that it feels like it's hopeless or out of it. I mean, that Widow shot wasn't the best, but they're going to go back to spawn, swap over to the Sojourn. No Nag going over to the Junkrat. Again, a little bit more diveable by the Winston, so you got to be a little bit more careful about that, but a lot of damage.
Yeah, you can blow someone up immediately here for No Nag, right? We'll have to see if that's going to be the case. As We're All Dead already forcing positioning away from RRG, right? And going to be pressuring out the point here. Getting maybe this first point already popped. Yeah, not going to have any contest quite just yet. Still. Finally, Piercing's going to drop down to stop them from capturing any more percentage. But now you've lost Piercing. So, you know, you just might give up this point, and you are indeed.
Yeah, I mean, neither team had a really inspiring first point defense. No. So we're going to have to see what kind of changes. I mean, as soon as RRG started to struggle, they were able to make changes. We see that No Nag getting off of the Junkrat, now going over to the Tracer, late stagger onto Mag. So you're going to at least get this first corridor all the way through, which is, you know, unfortunate for the side of RRG because that can be such a strong hold point for the defense. And now you're just giving all this space to the side of Unknown Origin.
Is now we'll have to go here. No Nag's gonna find a pick. Slick gets Rick out of the fight here. So might go BDG. Everyone really low in the cleanup. Gonna come through from RRG to start their defensive hold on point 2.
And they were actually able to get back fast enough to where the cart didn't get much further outside that first doorway. So you could still hold aggressively, defensively here and continue to waste more time. So I thought maybe they were going to lose that advantage by being able to clean up the fight quickly. They're able to gain it right back.
As now, we're going to see... You're gonna lose, buddy. No, able to stay alive. Kitsune Rush now comes in here. You've lost Nene, so you don't have this orbital ray for this next engagement. Buddy's all alone, getting pocketed here by Starry Night. So, you know, Unknown Origins continuing to push forward, find picks, and break down that defense for the moment.
And now it's all going to be about defensively for Unknown Origin, jostling for position. They have a lot of ults. They find one with the pulse.
Yeah, they find that pulse bomb pick onto Nene. It's still not a chance to use orbital array. You do find Starry Night out, so that is a consolation prize for the time being, especially since the respawns are going to come back for RRG quite quickly. And
yeah, that's the big issue you're facing. The respawns are close, and you're going to be facing an orbital ray, and they're just cleaning up. They don't even need any ult commitment. Huge for the side of RRG. Yeah, you're going to get Mac, but it doesn't even matter. The fight is completely over. Back to the spawn room, and you didn't force anything out. Absolutely disastrous for Unknown Origin.
Yeah, disastrous indeed. As Starry Night down. We're going to have to see here, right? 2 minutes, 35 seconds to go. Like you said, no ultimates had to be invested that last fight.
As they will have quite a few of their own to engage, but RRG is getting close to just having a full war chest of them. And we're all dead. Got solo forced to Primal.
Forced to Primal early, but you know what? Got forced early too as well. That was that orbital ray from Nene. It's not going to find any value, and you love to see that if you're Unknown Origin, right? So you can come back into this pretty convincingly, but, well, maybe not any longer. Primal Rage now going to be popped in. You've already lost your Winston, and you're going to lose a couple more as RRG still holding it down strong. Minute 50 to go.
Yeah, and, you know, all things considered, it was a 2-for-1 ult change. You changed out Primals and you used the orbital array. Would you like to have the raid back? Yeah, probably, but not the end of the world. The thing you got to be worried about is we see the overclock being popped. I don't like where, but it forces out sound barrier. Mac, what are you doing, buddy?
I don't know, because they used their OC as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was like, I don't like that overclock pop at all. I got the sound barrier out, but that's it.
And now you've lost piercing as well. You're gonna have to force an engagement if with a sound barrier here. If you're Guitar Bob, and there it's gonna come through. Overclock in from Buddy, but you get blown up, and now things are not looking great for RRG. You could still hold us on. Oh, disgusting. Comes through from Buddy, and that should just be the cleanup through from the rest of Unknown Origin. Take point number 2.
They're still going to have 2 and some change minutes to be able to get this. The problem is they have to make sure they finish with time, so they can't afford to dilly-dally. They got to move quickly and make sure they get this through. The best thing about getting that second point was they were able to hold on to their Kitsune Rush.
Yeah, Kitsune Rush still available is massive. Primal as well as a get out of jail free card for We're All Dead. And the rush is going to be invested here early. You know, you could just kite this away. If you're RRG, right, you don't have to engage into this. But you've lost 2, lost 3. Primal Rage invested here. I don't know about that one, Chief. Just because, I mean, you'd like that for a later, just as you get out of jail, right?
Yeah, I agree, because you're in a situation where you're probably going to have to win 2 more fights to be able to get this. You wish you would have had that engagement tool, but we live to fight another day. RRG coming up on a lot.
Yes, now, there they come, and Piercing's gonna go down during their own primal rage. Not what you wanted to see, but good news for RRG. It's down under a minute, but the picks keep coming in. You do lose Buddy late. But it's not gonna really matter here. Max all alone. Respawn's coming back. Pulse bomb out. You do lose Starry Night, but I don't know if there's gonna be another touch. No, there's not. So Unknown Origin are able to hold out and get a second chance at an attack.
And this is where things get really interesting because of how abysmal both of these teams' first point defenses were. Both teams got them within at most a minute. So with both teams having a minute, if the defenses go the way they did, this is where things will heat up. The big question is, based on how bad those defenses went for both of these teams, they have another opportunity. Do they change anything up? And if they do, how? As we see for the side of RRG Varsity, they are going to go double hit scan with Mag on that Sojourn, and they're going to have no Nag go over to the Soldier. So I want to make sure I don't mix that up, Sojourn and Soldier. And they're going to probably go with the Lucio Kiri if, that's what both teams have been rolling out support-wise. For the side of Unknown Origin, it's going to be the big question. Obviously, the Symmetra is going to be there just to, TP setup. Where do you go after that? Does BDG stay on the Tracer like we've seen, or do they try something else?
Yeah, we'll have to see, right? As we're loading in yet again. Yeah, Soldier and a Soldier pick is weird, I feel like, for no Nag, but hey, that's why I'm casting, not playing, and look at that! I eat my words! They find a kill with those, the Helix rockets, and, ooh, no, you lose Dene there late, but, that's not the worst person to lose, right? You got those teleport ability, the swift step to get back quickly.
Yeah, and the fact that you got Slick Trick out of there pretty easily, so you're not going to... Yes, Slick Trick will be back fast, but it gives time for the Kiri to get back.
Yeah, as now we're going to see here, it's going to be overtime, and overtime push, and you're going to lose. No way, you were all dead is still alive. Oh, my goodness. That is huge, but Slickest Rick is going to fall here, and more are going to come crumbling down around them. It's just, we're all dead, and well, you guys you're all dead. Unknown Origin have been stopped. Now, RRG only need 33% to take the series.
As Joker, who was doubting the Soldier pick, no Nag finds 2 crucial picks in that fight. To set things up and set the stage for punch their ticket to the grand finals. Folks, it is not over yet. RRG Varsity has to ensure they get a singular tick on this point in these 202 that they're going to have. Then they'll be in the grand finals. Because if they draw, we're going to a map number 4.
Yeah. We're going to have to go to a map number 4 if they draw. But we'll see if that is going to be in the cards, right? I mean, we saw a really fast capture from RRG on their attack, but at least it looked like both of them had learned from their first attack, or at least their first defense, because RRG was able to stop them there. But we'll have to see, right? It's all about playing the game. 2 minutes and 2 seconds. You get maybe 2, maybe 3 fights into this, so you've got an opportunity here to build up something, maybe that Kitsune rush, but you're gonna go have Guitar Bob go onto the Mercy here.
Hold on, let's not get you baited. Yeah.
I was about to say.
As I was curious if this Ryan was actually going to be a thing, and it actually looks like they're going to. I mean, if you move fast and hold point, you have an opportunity to possibly get something done. I would probably prefer a Baptiste instead of the Curie, but we'll have to see how this goes, as they're already making the rotation to high ground.
Yeah, already making that rotation here. As we should. I mean, they're wasting. And I don't want to say they're wasting time, because, I mean, they're not really. But they've taken 40 seconds to get a fight. But you take down Buddy, and you know what? It wasn't a waste. It wasn't a waste. And RRG are going to be able to take that fight, take the series 3-0.
I feel like you keep making these calls. Like, man, this soldier kind of weird. They find 2 picks, you're like, oh, they're kind of going slow here. And then they clean up so quickly, just as you say that. But I mean, that's kind of how it is with the Reinhardt comp. You either have to get quickly and speed onto the point, or you have to take the right rotations all the way around, and it takes more time. But with the Bastion and the Torbjorn, you have a lot of bulk and you have a lot of damage, and they were able to play off that and really make it work against that Winston.
Yeah, definitely. It was really good stuff. RRG clean in house 3-0. Unknown Origin, though, was really, really good still as well. Able to push them to their limits on some of these maps that we saw, specifically that last one, right? So I'm excited to see what we get from them going into the future of CGL for the rest of the CGL season down the line. We're going to head just quickly to a break, though, so we can get this interview going, and then because we're on a kind of a time crunch right now here, right? So we'll be back right after this.
Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yours.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are ready to bring in our interview here. We've got Guitar Bob from RRG Varsity. First off, Guitar Bob, congratulations on the victory tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, we really worked as a team, and we beat the enemy team.
I want to talk about your guys' band style, right? I want to know, are you guys a more reactionary band team, or are you going into these maps when they're selected? Oh, this is what we want to run, and this is what the enemy we don't want the enemy team to run. So you've already had like a preperceived notion of what you want to ban.
Since we played this team like last week or like a couple of days ago, we just like knew what our coach wanted to ban depending on the map and their strength, so that made it like a bit easier.
Okay.
I kind of want to talk about No Nag and the interesting picks they tend to swap around on. I mean, it ended up working in your favor, but you know, they went anywhere from like Soldier to Junkrat. I mean, what are your guys' theories when you have them play those unconventional heroes that we're not used to seeing?
We kind of have him run the pocket pick so he can like really flex the hero that he thinks is best suited. So when he brought out the Junk, I was really happy.
Nice.
Not many people happy when the Junkrat's on your team, but hey, that's it's good what it works for you. I want to talk about Mac, who took over Dorado for you guys on that Tracer. What does it feel like to have a player like that can take over a game at any given time?
Yeah, so with our Brick ban, we knew that Mac would just like eat. So Mac and our monkey just like went in and we really played to his strength. So we really shout out to Mac. Mac is OP, Mac is Thanos.
Not sure if you guys plan to watch, but right after this on CGL, we will be, showing the other match that you guys will be facing the winner of Big TTR Fan versus University of Toronto Academy Blues. Not sure if you guys have played him yet and if you'll be watching, but any idea who you'd rather face and why?
We really want our get back on Big Tartar Fan, so we choose them. So yeah, we lost them a couple times, so we'd really want to verse them.
I like that reference too, because apparently they're based on Pokemon, so I like that. All right. Before we send you out here, Guitar Bob, to go celebrate with your team, anyone you want to shout out here?
Yeah, I want to shout out Nene. We have a rival scrim like right now, so I'll be joining him. So shout out Nene.
So we won't hold you any longer. Go to your rival scrim. Congratulations yet again. Go have fun in your scrim.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you both.
I mean, yeah. So they want to play big T-Tar Fan, right? And I mean, I think that kind of makes sense, right? That's the team to beat in the NA GM tier, and we'll see if that continues, especially as we're going to be seeing them in a few short moments here. So we're gonna end it off, right? You don't have anything more to add, right?
Yeah, the old adage is if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. So I like that they want Big TTR Fan.
Yeah, there's our schedule. Right now on CGL 1 is SOS versus Celestial Knights, and big TTR Fan on versus University of Toronto Academy on this stream. So stick around. You're not going to want to miss that. But we have to end it off so we can get that sorted, get everyone situated, because it's not going to be myself and Ray on the call. So we shall be ending it off. Thank you all for watching our section of the broadcast tonight. Thank you all for watching. Peace out. Have a wonderful rest of your day, guys.
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.
Honestly, these players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss. Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What am I roll through one thing? It's just gonna solidify everything when it does.
Does come back and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC with the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lore is gonna be able to find these shots true.
Inu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Anvil immediately to back and finds skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2-3, so back and forth.
Welcome in, everybody, to the CGL Season 15 Grandmaster Tier Mid-Season Tournament. It is a mouthful, but I got myself through it. I did forget to say semifinals, however. This is the semifinals leading into our finals of this section of the tournament. So this has a lot on the line. We've got a game between bigbigbigttarfan600 and University of Toronto. My name is Speedy, and I am joined here now by Sov. Sov, how are we doing?
It's another beautiful night here in the incredible multi-tier tournament 15 for CGL. And I mean, if you've been following this division in any sort of way, this matchup is a familiar one. Big. I'm not pronouncing the whole name. Look, I respect to the name. Respect to the name because they are a good team. They've only dropped a single map coming in as the #1 seed here, but like this is a match we've seen before. So I mean, big T-Tar they gotta prove themselves because there's quite a bit on the line for this mid tier.
Yeah, there really is a lot on the line here. Now, we've had a few games already go today, and we've got 2 more running right now. The ones that happened earlier today were, as we can see above, Amplify and Vicious Sharks, which ended in a 3-0. And then in this division, RRG Varsity versus Unknown Origin. So RRG Varsity winning 3-0 in that game does mean that they're going to be heading to the grand finals of this tier for the mid-season tournament. They're going to be going up against whoever wins this matchup that we're watching right now. And then over on CGL 1, we also have Sort of Skilled going head-to-head with Celestial Knights right now. So if you want to tune in between the 2 games, you can have them both open at the same time. Check out all the action.
There is plenty of skill amongst both those teams. Sort of Skilled. If you've not heard the meme of the caster team running around in the Masters division, Sort of Skilled is very good. And speaking of very good, there are some very very good teams in this current GM tier, including Big T-Tarfan and Roadrunner Gaming, who just again both very very strong teams. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw that as the grand final, but we do know that Roadrunner Gaming Varsity did make it on from the previous match if you stayed on. So, the 1 versus the 4 here, we did see this match coming into the halfway here, and the result was a resounding 3-0 for T-Tarfan. So, I mean, they have everything to lose here. University of Toronto, I mean, they need to just, this is their chance. They need a redemption. They're really trying to punch up here. This would be an incredible upset for them to, just steal this from behind.
Yeah, you mentioned T-Tarfan coming in at a 4-0 record with only 1 map lost. University of Toronto are actually coming in at 2-2, just barely breaking into this playoff position to be able to play now. So they've lost against 2 of the teams that are playing in these semifinals here in this tournament. So they do have a lot to prove, like you said, and it's all going to start with our map 1. We do have our bans up and ready to go. They're going to be banning out for this very first map. We're going to see what neither of these teams want to be seeing on this one. So what should we expect going into this ban cycle?
So my guess is that with the kind of knowledge of what has been very, very good in at least the top tier metas and kind of in the collegiate metas, I wouldn't be shocked, given that we are starting on Control, if we saw something kind of maybe odd, like just a generic safe pick, like a Hazard or a Lucio or something that teams are likely to pick. I do think, yeah, as I say, Lucio was in my immediate thought because of, like, if you want to try to negate someone's, like, a comfort pick that everybody's playing, Lucio is definitely the one. TTARFan have to respond. With support locked off, I wouldn't be shocked if they went for a tank.
Yeah, definitely the 2 high priority targets, unless you have a target ban that you want to look for on the damage side, and that certainly does speak as one of them, although Far in the Sky has been flying around showing a little bit of domination against some of the lacking hit scan in recent developing metas. Far does feel like a bit of a target ban, a bit of a read maybe. The Lucio feels much more general.
Yeah, the Pharah tends to be because of, 2 particular reasons. Number one, you feel like you just don't have the hit scan to really kind of deal with a Pharah, and you're afraid, especially depending on the map pick, what you're going to do. But the other one is, hey, remember all those fun perks that we got? Pharah lives a lot more now due to the moving barrage and some of her other perks. So she actually is one of those few heroes that kind of just net gained from that, and then add on her strength initially. Like, she just kind of net gained from the addition of perks.
Yeah, there are a lot of changes that have come into the game, so the meta still developing over time, but some of those early ones have certainly been locked in, and this is the locked-in roster for bigbigbigttarfan600 going into this first map. It's going to be Again and Piggles on the DPS, going to be Haru on the tank, Nyla and Spicy Toast on those supports. Now, we do see Spicy Toast has that Lucio as their favorite hero pick, so that is a ban right there. If we look at this entire roster, this is a hard dive that this team likes to play. The Widowmaker is an interesting pick, maybe not something you'll be seeing all the time in this meta run around, but we can see that they do favor the dive as a team in general. So the Lucio ban, as much of a general ban as it may have been, it definitely does affect TTARFan.
Yeah, Lucio is kind of the go-to, main support, if we still are using those terms nowadays. But, like, Spicy Toast also probably has the flexibility to bring in the Brigitte, which is likely what you're going to be showing. From that is my guess, just because, like, there's, Mercy's still not strong enough. You're going to be likely playing the Kiriko or the Juno. You need something that's going to kind of protect the backline or, against those counter dives, but I have to imagine University of Toronto is probably feeling a similar vibe. Grumpy Book showing us the Bastion is I just love that. Even if that's never going to come out, I just love that. This is still a solid team. Remember, this is a University of Toronto Academy squad that has been playing, trying to break into their main team for a while. So they have, even though they're 2-2, and even though they are kind of the David in this situation, this is a squad that really does have the talent and the time behind it together. So that is kind of the one thing I'm really going to be keeping an eye out for them, is they should have almost a team play advantage, because we know that they're screaming blocks. We know that they are trying to push towards greater heights even outside of CGL. So I think that's going to be the one thing I look for, going into this game that really can give them an edge against a mechanically superior team in this regard.
Yeah, and it did look like on the other side for TTARFan, we may have actually had a switch on the DPS. Yes. It looks like they switched that over to Bearvu on the DPS, so I think we'll actually see them playing on this map 1, which will be Lijiang Tower Classic control map. Classic way to start it off. It almost always goes here, and so this is how we'll be starting things.
Yeah, literally a non-surprise, I think, for any Overwatch enjoyer. Whether you see it here or in WCS or anywhere, it's probably the typical map 1. A shame here, because this is the one map you would kind of really want to run the Pharah in, but I am curious to see what these supports run out on. Lucio is such a staple now, so if something like Utah wants to run a brawl like this, because they did show a Reinhardt, they did show a lot of brawl characters, it's going to be tough to kind of manage that without something to help with the speed, be it a Juno or a Sim. So, these bans actually really could change a lot. It's going to be the Maugas, which doesn't surprise me in any sort of way. This is about what I expected.
Yeah, the Briggs definitely heavily expected here, with this being a lot brawlier. Without that Pharah in the air as well, it really frees up the supports to not have to worry too much about that. Playing Mercy or playing against the Pharah, just none of those questions here. So, going to be rolling out on these, and it's going to be Haru starting off on the Winston. That is staying locked in, and it's starting to look a lot more like a dive from the side of TTARFan. Early shots here from afar from Grumpy Mook, who rolled out here on the Sojourn. There is still a little bit of aerial supremacy from Misha, who can get those health packs if needed, but it's a quick dive coming in from TTARFan, trying to hold from every angle.
Haru does get that opening pick, and Bearfu is kind of just out in Narnia now, and with the Grumpy Mook having pack control, it's going to be tough to dislodge them from that angle. The Mauga's in, and I mean, the reinforcements are back.
Yeah, and TTARFan have found a cap already on the objective, so they're putting up time here, and it's smart for University of Toronto to pull back after seeing that and regroup themselves so it's not a late fight. It looks like they're going to try to rotate around and push from the other side now. This is more of a straightaway, not as easy to get dove on as you do have that indoors to work with. If you're playing something brawlier, it is a little more helpful. I don't know that Misha will thrive in that environment necessarily, does become more susceptible to going down, but it's going to be right past the Sojourn for Pickles, who tries to find an elimination, gets taken out by Laufey themselves, and Misha finds Haru as well, so a lot of the damage already taken away from the side of Big Tar.
Yeah, that's a huge thing, and that's what University of Toronto really does kind of benefit from here. They're a very quick dive brawl, kind of a hybrid there, where they want to move in quick and use that CC from Laufey to kind of set the rest of the DPS up for success here. And TTARFan, they have to use their mobilities to get in quickly, and then once they use them, they're kind of done. Computero does have the first laser on site. Bearfu holding onto that blade, so may get used defensively here. Computer just has to live.
Yeah, and after these fights, those tier 2s are going to be coming up, so it's important Haru and Piggles finding those opening picks. A huge, quick dive. Double DPS ults used for that one, but clearly for good reason, as they clean up that fight extremely quickly, find themselves a team kill, start getting those points right back on the board. They'll be passing that 50% marker before those tier 2 perks even come online.
Yeah, I'm not really sure where the laser even went off, honestly. The laser kind of got sent immediately and the Juno died, so good use of that. Nyla does have hers as well now, so, I mean, Big T-Tar just winning in the ultimate economy here, plus their dives look efficient, but Piggles going down means they may have to delay this dive a bit.
Yeah, that is a really early find, and not only do they have to delay the dive, but they're the ones in control of the point, so they have to stop it from flipping over. They don't get the benefit of being able to hold back. That orbital ray is going to come down from the Juno on the side of T-Tar. Nobody going down just yet. They're trying to make it a little bit of a brawl, but Laufey's off the edge thanks to that whip shot from Spicy Toes. That's a real good way to shut that one down. Orange Peel has committed the rally here, so trying to make something get done with it still. Grumpy Mook does find the elimination, but it's Haru with 2 on the back line that's going to wrap that one up.
Yeah, that's hard, and this is already now at 90%, so this is basically done. There's going to need to be a last-second touch from anybody who can get it. It's going to be Laufey who's going to be able to get it. They'll have a cage fight, but I don't even think there's really going to be much commitment. There's nothing to follow it up on, so this is just giving your life to touch. Yeah, they throw down the cage fight. Do get a little bit of the healing from the Brig, actually able to survive for quite a while. Oh, it's done.
But it's a huge pulse from Piggles, perfectly placed. You were locked into the cage, nowhere to go as that Mauga, so now it's just going to be a cleanup job for TTARFan. What a great way to shut it down. It was looking like a little bit of hope for University of Toronto there. They actually kept Laufey alive for a moment. Piggles says, this looks dangerous. I'm going to wrap this one up.
I'm actually, now that I'm kind of looking at all this, I'm actually kind of curious to what we're doing with the Mauga here, because everything else about University of Toronto's comp really signaled a dive. Like, everything there is really more dive-oriented, really wants to work. Like, this control center is where I would expect to see the Mauga, because you don't have to worry about controlling high grounds or, have as much space. There's a lot more cover on the ground. So I'm kind of interested to see what University of Toronto does here, because they kind of ran this dive comp into the Mauga, or with the Mauga rather, and it kind of hurt them because they weren't necessarily locked in like Big TTARFan was. Bearfu going to go over to the Junkrat, the classic home of our projectile spamming friend here. So, I mean, again, just more spam into the fodder for University of Toronto to deal with.
Yeah, this is going to be a big-time spam comp here coming out from TTARFan. They can just hold this from a distance. They don't even have to aim all that well. They've got turrets, they've got bombs, they've got mines, everything to work with. Bearfu actually trying to make a bit of a flank here. They're going after that Brig early on, who gets bounced into the air. A little bit of a stomp from Haru, but they don't find an elimination. Now, a lot of those players from the side of the University of Toronto up on the high ground. It looks like Bearfu making a rotation once again. Second one already just on this map. That Sojourn is going to survive, but Piggles finds Grumpy Mook in the air. Now the backline going to try to finish that off. They do get rid of Bearfu, but have to turn away from their tank, who is now falling low, has gotten really far away. They do turn the attention back, but it's too little too late. Eventually, Laufey does end up getting taken down. Now the Brig's on the low ground, can't get back up very easily. Will get stomped on, and Big TTARFan will finally win that first fight. Took them a while, but they'll get the first control of the point.
Well, they didn't need to aggress there. They kind of had all the angles. UTO just kind of just put themselves in a corner, metaphorically. They got the high ground and then just kind of tried to hold it, thinking that would be a decent angle for Grumpy Mook to hit shots, but TTarfan just slowly took the rotation and won it through, and now because of that they have the higher bank of ultimates. They're a little behind in the laser, so Computer, again, leading with the first laser, should be able to maybe turn the tide here as long as they place it well and catch some of the opponents into it. Oh, that's so low.
Oh, that's really low, and it splits off the backline from that Sojourn as well, who ends up going low. The team going to chase that one down. Very wise to do so after Grumpy Mook gets split off. Haru is lost already, though. The tank going down early is not usual with a composition like this. Orange Peel does find Piggles, so a lot of that long-range pressure is gone. It's only the Junkrat for damage who will drop as well. University of Toronto do clean up one by one, and it looks like the entire team of TTarfan had turned to get that Sojourn on the high ground, but somehow got taken out in the meantime.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a priority issue where we kind of valued the Sojourn, maybe thinking those rails were up, and you know, not kind of getting around Utah's light. But it's going to be a plethora of ultimates, including this one here. So T-Tar should just overwhelm in the longer fight with all these ultimates.
Yeah, let's see if this tire finds anything.
Ooh.
No, it's blocked off by the shield, so Orange Peel stays alive. Has that rally, too, available. Laufey drops really early, though. The same issue that was given to TTarfan last time, now applied to University of Toronto. The orbital ray gets committed by Nyla, but gets shut down really quickly. Now it's a blade inside of the cage that Misha's gonna try to make something happen with. Gets a deflect on the mines, but the rally just isn't going to keep them up. It's not going to be able to find damage for them. That's the main issue that they're having here. They just can't find any eliminations. The cage fight does get committed as Haru returns and is able to find elimination on Laufey again. So Laufey gets back into the fight and gets taken right back out.
I was just about to say, Utah did have the advantage there if they kind of let it sit and go around, but instead we're getting this long extended fight that doesn't necessarily favor them. They do manage to turn it, do those ults though. It costs them everything in the bank, so we're back to a neutral, and Big TTarfan just kind of has been a little better in the neutral. I mean, I'm looking again at Computer, who is coming into the laser. I mean, that Juno has been outputting so much HP. They need to get the last bit. That laser is Utah's only hope of maybe getting this to a final fight territory. So a lot of pressure onto Computer here to survive and get this laser out.
Yeah, you mentioned that dive as well, and Grumpy Mook here has opted for having 2 slides. It's really early that Laufey ends up going low, but just not sure why they're trying to push this into a dive comp with the Mauga, who ends up going down now to Nyla. The orbital ray did get committed from Computer, so at least they pull something out of him. It was the only piece of equipment they had. Grumpy Mook with a beautiful shot onto Piggles eliminates that target that was trying to counter them. Now it's Spicy Toast who goes low, but is defended by the tank who peels off. It's trade for trade right now, but Bearfoo finds both of the DPS to really shut down that damage. Laufey's gonna have to pull back right off of the spawn and head right back. It's Big TTarfan. Honestly, for either of these teams, it might be final fight.
It's likely to be final fight, and say what you will about the Junkrat, but the Junkrat spam is getting so much done. There's so much burst damage coming out of TTarfan's comp, and I think that's the one thing that Utah's been a little bit missing, because you're kind of dependent on the pick value here, but Bear just has so much damage with this tire. Cage?
Oh yeah, and it's coming from behind too. Gets thrown toward the cage.
Wow.
Somehow stayed along for so long. Finds Grumpy Mook and Laufey. That's a huge shutdown that really might just be ending this one. Misha does find Nyla not able to pull back to the team, and eventually they find Haru as well with that healing taken out. So University of Toronto is now in control of the objective, and they only need 10% to cap.
They only need 10% to cap, but they spent everything to get that that kind of positioning. So Haru's going to be there to get to get the touch, but there's 3 ultimates up here, and Piggles just made value out of 1.
Yeah, already did. The orbital ray is down as well, so Nyla can hang back, heal the team, get all of that support pumped out. The brig was cut off. The Spicy Toast ended up going down. It was forced a fight out of them. They don't have that Mauga anymore. They're now playing that Wrecking Ball, who does get taken down. It was a really quick amount of forced ultimates. They were forced to touch. They weren't able to utilize them in a really wealthy way. It didn't get them a whole lot because of the way they were forced to throw them out just to try to get on point. So eventually, University of Toronto do take that control center just by a little bit, and even that one up 1-1. We're going into the final map of map 1.
Yeah, so you took the exact analysis out of my mouth there. I mean, it was a desperate touch for Big TTarfan to even get there. Then they just kind of threw those ultimates in to try to make sure they could get value. But now that we're back into a different position, I don't imagine TTarfan's gonna go ahead and play this Mauga again. Like, you kind of you had moments where you won, but you just looked better on the Winston. And yeah, Haru's gonna go back to the Winston. Like, this just makes more sense. TTARFan won submap 1 with a Winston. They won by just winning on the dive. And University of Toronto has to be aware that this is coming. They're gonna try to play with the Tracer instead, though, to try to maintain some of that control space. So watch for this Tracer duel to kind of help decide what happens, because Haru is gonna get on somebody, and University of Toronto has been struggling to get Peel out.
Yeah, Misha had a rough recall there, a little bit too late to the point where they're in the center of TTARFan. So now it's going to be a fairly easy approach and a really dangerous one. The backline already being positioned on right now. It is a little bit of damage onto the backline from the Sojourn as well. Spicy Toast finds Grumpy Mook, though, and slowly but surely, even if some of these players are able to funnel back in from University of Toronto, they are going to drop. Spicy Toast finds Orange Peel. Sorry, gets found by Orange Peel. Laufey finds Haru. They're really holding to the defense. That survivability really counters the dive.
All right, look, I had just called out Utah about peeling for each other, and then Orange Peel absolutely just put my words in my face. So thank you, Orange Peel, because you are doing everything you need to do now to defend against this dive. You saw the brig there. If you were watching, just make sure they were constantly on that Tracer, making sure to deny any of those angles, and that's what they need to do to stop this dive. So another successful dive like that means they get more presence.
Yeah, that Repulsor also doing a lot of damage to Laufey early on, so a lot of resources having to be extended. The rally is going to be committed by Orange Peel, and Computer's going to find the entire backline already. You can see that the backline of University of Toronto have gone in. They got aggressive together while everybody else just held space, so early eliminations are going to make for an early team fight win.
Oh, a late pick on the Pickles, too, is so big. That means University of Toronto gets a bit more time. It's only the Pulse Bomb up. It cost them a rally there, and that's pretty fine. It's just TTARFan is coming into all of their other ultimates, and Haru's going to match on the Malga. I'm not crazy about that, but I'm crazy about this Pulse Bomb.
The Pulse Bomb goes a little bit crazy, doesn't quite catch anything. Laufey does get taken out by Bearfu, though, who makes really good use of that overcharge, overclock. Now takes out Grumpy Mook as well. It's a lot of quick eliminations. Piggles doing a much better job of finding purchase with that Pulse Bomb. And now both of those players, even actually Misha, could make the swap over onto the Genji.
I mean, it makes sense. You do need to get a little bit more deflect, play a little more defensive, and keep your mobility up. Shout out to Bearfu for using the overcharge over one, because that just kind of makes Sojourn a little bit easier. You're not worried about during those ultimates to hit those headshots. You can just kind of get away with hitting a body shot, and more about making sure you just connect on the value targets as opposed to hitting headshots. So a good little like kind of ease of play for Sojourn there. So just a great read.
That overclock boost either if we take a look at the perks down bottom, so not using that to find those eliminations. An orbital ray drops down from University of Toronto, and it is finding them a lot so far. Spicy Toast already going down. Bearfu gets stomped on and eliminated. Haru too, so they just push in and take that space. It's really back and forth, but that's not going to go in favor of TTARFan because they started with that dive that worked so slow for them early on.
I'm starting to wonder how punishing this Lucio pick really was for TTARFan, because University of Toronto looked very dominant here now that we forced the Malga matchup. It's Nyla's laser, and that should shut this right down.
Yeah, it's into the cage as well. A great counter for the cage.
Yeah.
Piggles is going to dash through Orange Peel with 2 down. That makes a 3rd and a 4th. They're going to finish up this one last in Computer, possibly, but either way, they do have control of the objective. University of Toronto, they pushed it to an 82. They pushed it to that final fight territory. If they can win one more, it's just going to be desperate touches from TTARFan. They actually have to get feet on, and they're only working with a rally.
Yeah, it's Rally and Blade coming up here, but that Blade is likely going to get kind of eaten into the cage, so getting this cage out of Haru is really going to kind of be the deciding factor.
Oh, and there it is immediately as well. Before Misha even gets the Blade online, Orange Peel puts out the rally to keep Laufey around, and it's for good reason. Haru ends up going down, so you've eliminated the user of the cage already, and Bearfu drops too. Piggles is trying to make up for that by finding Grumpy Mook, but is low themselves, and Misha doing a much better job getting those dash resets, finding their other in Piggles, taking down another Genji, and now both teams on final fight territory. TTARFan will get a touch here at some point, but Spicy Toast has to make the swap to the Moira to try to help him get back.
Oh, Bearfu gets caught out there, and that is an ultimate online. It's up to Piggles now. Once the touch comes in, and I guess the flip as well. They'll just get the flip before they even touch. So now Piggles has this Blade going into basically a laser. This is going to be tough. It has to act fast.
Yeah, it does find the right target as well. Nyla ends up going down. That's a really good early elimination. Computer Down does throw out the orbital ray. It's really back and forth for the moment. Bearfu trying to have a hero play here and does shut down a couple with the help of Spicy Toast and Piggles. So, Big T-Tar fan, they looked like they were suffering a bit from not having the Lucio, but by the skin of their teeth, they will be able to take Night Market and close out Lijiang Tower to put themselves up 1-0.
I mean, that was University of Toronto's round to lose, it felt like. They kind of really had good control, but once they lost the position of the point and kind of were chasing those kills, you know, you saw Bearfu fall fairly late, which, you know, should have worked in their favor, but they traded Bearfu for the positioning of the point. So then suddenly now T-Tar fan was able to just kind of rack up the rest of the points, and it forced Utah to kind of play in this out of positional you know, way where they were kind of just scrambling to kind of get to the point. Oh, we forgot the point, we need to go get in, but we had, you know, thinking, oh, we have the numbers, we should be okay. I mean, University of Toronto looked good. I don't know what the first time these teams met looked like, but that was incredibly competitive. I do think the rest of this could be a lot closer. So T-Tar fan can't really rest on their laurels. That was a good win for them. But I mean, Toronto really took it to them when they were playing that Mauga.
Yeah, if Toronto make them fight that hard for it every single time, then this could definitely be a close one. The issue being T-Tar fans seem to want to lean on a sort of dive composition, and you can only ban out so many things, and that Lucio's already been banned by University of Toronto. They cannot ban it out again, and it's very unlikely we would see T-Tar fan trying to ban out the Lucio at any point. So they will have that back, and not only that, but control, especially some of the points on Lijiang Tower, do not always serve a dive composition. So yeah. T-Tar fan had to play against everything they're used to and still came out of that map with a win. So that does tell us a little bit of why they've been able to dominate so far. But in any composition with any amount of bans, a game being that close means that both teams have an almost even amount of skill. University of Toronto made it this far for a reason. They're the only 2-2 team that were able to get to this point. It's because of their difficulty of their season. They had some really close 3-2 games against other teams that made it into the semifinals. So really no surprise that we have them here and that they're fighting this close. It's just going to be about whether they can keep it that close when they're playing into T-Tar's actual strengths and not forcing them into the mirror.
Well, like you said, the good news is that you do have a few more bans coming up, and that University of Toronto does have a map and mode pick, I believe, coming in, so they'll have an advantage in that. But like you said, the Lucio's going to be back now for a while, so that's going to be gone. I do expect them to kind of target out the Winston. That is definitely one of their points where they seem to struggle, was letting Haru on that Winston just get in the back line and create the chaos for the DPS to come up. So I expect that Winston to get banned out eventually. I could also even see maybe like sacrificing the Genji or the Sojourn if you feel like you're not winning the DPS battles. I do think that it's going to be a little bit of a tough pick for here on out from University of Toronto, especially if you're trying to force them into something a little more brawly that works in your favor. It's really, I think, going to come down to a combination of the map and the bans that are going to give him an edge now.
Yeah, unfortunately, you do only get one ban at a time. So while you can target the entirety of what they're trying to play, it's going to be over a course of several maps. You're not going to get to target everything at once. So you're really only picking away pieces that they can try to adjust over time. If you ban out the Winston, maybe they try to play the Wrecking Ball. It's seen a little bit of a pickup. The Diva is, of course, available as well. The Diva plays so well into those poke compositions. Anything with the Sojourn and the Mauga together, putting out so much damage, just plays so well to buy time for the rest of their team to try to make space, get themselves a position, and eliminate backline targets. So there's plenty of ways for you to play into it, and it's just going to be up to what University of Toronto can do with what little they have to work with. Now, we do have our map set, and it is going to be Shambhali Monastery, so we are going straight into an escort. This is a map that's seen some dive dominance and a lot of brawl dominance, but over time the way that this map has changed not the way the map has changed, but the way the map is played has changed a little bit. So both teams might be able to play to their strong suits here.
Yeah, I think definitely once you look at the first point segment, it does kind of give a lot of places for dive to go to. You really kind of have to bunker down and defend on the high ground down that the main route if you want to try to hold it. So dive has a lot of good places where it wants to land. But like you said, this is kind of a known brawl map, so this doesn't surprise me that University of Toronto wants to be here. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw the Mauga. I mean, Ramatra got a lot of buffs, including some of the perks went their way. So that is positive. We also have a sub coming in, so this is going to change quite a bit for both teams.
Yeah, definitely excited to see how this one goes. University of Toronto gets something of their own pick, and they're going to get to ban out a hero from the next map as well. So something that they don't want to be running into is going to be out of the way. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Definitely all the advantages going in their favor in this one. We got to hope that they can pull something out of this, because if you can take all of these advantages you're being given and still not come out of it with a win, it's going to be a really rough time.
So we do have a sub for Tarfan. We're going to see again come in for Nyla. And I'm not fully sure what that tells me, because again, it was initially set up to play DPS when we were first looking at the lineups and kind of looking it over. And I'm kind of interested, because what does that tell us? Maybe there's a Baptiste pick coming in. Maybe there's something like because you took out your flex support, so you're not playing double flex. Usually you'd bring in, you'd sub out your main support, bring in like a Zen Bap or something like that. So this is interesting. There has to be something that again is covering for in Nyla that has to be there, because Nyla put up a very solid performance, like very impressive Juno play, managed to put out a lot of damage on her own. So I'm very interested to see where this goes, and we still haven't even seen any bans yet.
No, we haven't, right? So we have the substitution before we even have seen our bans, so we already know that that's going to be coming out. Maybe that's something to do with the bans, which we will be taking a look at shortly. We'll be heading into that and see what they've got. But yeah, with that Lucio coming out, you have to think that they're going to be wanting to play it at some point. But with this being such a brawly map, maybe they do feel like they're being forced onto something else, so they are going to change up the way they're going to play. But it's like you mentioned, why swap out your flex support then? You'd think you'd want to play that double flex if you're not going to play the Lucio or the Brig or anything like that. So it is a little bit, it's twisting my mind. I'm trying to run the gears right now, but they're grinding. I'm not really sure. We will get to it fairly shortly, but for now, I mean, we just have to theorize about what the bans are going to be. And you had mentioned the Genji. I do think that would be a really good pick. The problem is they had problems with the... I would think they had problems with the Tracer a little bit more than the Genji, truthfully. But on the same side of it, the Genji wasn't easy to deal with and helped clean up the last map when we were on Night Market. So there are difficulties with both that make it hard to pick only one to ban out at a time.
Well, I think the way you complement that in a lot of ways is you kind of have to give up playing the Sojourn of your own in a lot of regards. You stop playing for the pick, for like a pick comp, and play for a more kind of anti-dive in that regard. I mean, we've seen so much play out of Torbjorn and Symmetra, less Symmetra, but more Torbjorn. Torbjorn has gotten a huge stonks boost since perks have come in, partially because of the memery of, turret on a wall, but also because people have just kind of realized, look, Torbjorn's strong and he's very good versus, these kind of flankers. The flankers really can't do anything unless that turret is out of the way. So it's an extra kind of a warning layer for anti-dive comps to kind of just say, okay, like the Genji got our turret. We know they're in this position now, so we need to either like get ready to defend there or we need to rotate away. So I do think that some hero adaptations, maybe just not kind of, give us that flexibility, because as much as you are good at Sojourn, as much as you are good at maybe the Tracer or the Genji, the flexibility is really kind of needs to show, I think, to survive some of these matches.
Definitely, and what you're mentioning about the Sojourn the Torbjorn as well with the buffs is just the power that comes through. I've heard some people comparing that level 3 turret to like having an ultimate on cooldown every single time. You talked about how it has to be dealt with. That is not a joke. That has to be priority number one. You turn something that isn't even a player on your team into a priority target for the other team. You are definitely slowing down the way you have to play. But speaking of slowing down the way we have to play, something is going to get banned out here from the University of Toronto to try and slow down their opponents on the other side in T-Tar. It's just a question of what it will be this time. And, alrighty then. So since I have no idea what's going on, go ahead and break this one down for us if you can.
All right, yeah. So I buy the Sigma pick in a way. So Shambali can be played a lot like how we see Circuit Royale, a place we don't see a lot of nowadays, which Sigma was kind of the king of Circuit Royale. You can slowly kind of play your poke comp with a Sigma on this. So I kind of understand that, especially if you want to deny them and you feel that the dive is not good. On the other side, Tarfan just kind of bans out Ashe, and now I have further questions, because now that kind of reads to me like, well, like you kind of want to play like a medium to a long range hit scans with like Ashe Widow or Ashe Sojourn. Like, and kind of that's kind of really good. You have a lot of long sightlines for this. So I'm assuming Tarfan is banning that out to kind of deny the, kind of one of those, again, kind of denying the slow pick comp. And I kind of get the sensation that Toronto doesn't want to do that. I don't know that either team necessarily would have gone for the Ashe here either way, but I do think it, like, I'm hesitate to say that that's a lost pick. I hate to say that that was like a bad pick, but I do think that that is a, maybe that's a dud. We'll see, have to see kind of how it plays out. Again, as I noted, is coming in for Nyla. I'm going to be real. Like, I guess I don't see the Moira being the real pick, but I also don't hate that. If you have, flankers as a problem, Moira's just a hard counter to Genji in a lot of ways. When you look at, you can't deflect anything, you really can't get a lot of value, and she can just kind of lock onto you. Same with Tracer, except Tracer has a little bit more ability and escape, so I don't think we'll see that Moira. I'm curious to see what, again, picks up in the flex support slot.
As am I, for sure. And it does feel like with the hero bans here being the Sigma and the Ashe, it almost feels like both teams didn't want to see the exact same thing.
Yeah.
They didn't want to see those safe hit scans getting to play from a range. They didn't want to see that tank taking up so much space, able to eat up so much of the either hit scan on the other side or any of the projectiles coming out. Just a lot of that primary fire that Sigma can stall out for so long and really slow down the game. They didn't want to see that distance being played on both sides. So they kind of helped each other to make sure that that was not going to be a strategy used here. And now I think I'm just really curious for which team that's going to benefit more.
All right. Tarfan showing the Hanzo. Okay, there we go. I was like, you're not showing me the Hanzo. Don't lie to me. But everything else here kind of... All right, I buy the rest of this. This still makes fair sense. Again, coming into play hit scan as Ana, that makes actual sense. When you look at the perks of, like, getting headshots suddenly available. Suddenly your hit scan, who maybe is sitting on a bench, can find new life as a support, and that makes sense. Spicy Toast also playing, like, you can play safer as a Zenyatta here, and he's kind of become... he's kind of teetered into that main support slot, so that doesn't totally shock me. University of Toronto showing us the double flex support look of the computer on the Ana, just kind of into the same space. They're going to even bring in the Pharah from Misha. So, again, kind of a slow pick-based comp. Just want to make sure that they play to have all the HP and can keep the team going until a pick is made.
Yeah, and I do feel like with this Pharah that Misha's playing as well, you're kind of going to have to play it, like you said, it's going to be a slow play because you can't just take aerial superiority. There's a lot of straightaways here that you have to work around. Again, gets taken down really early, though, and that's going to force a lot of University of Toronto back now. They're going to get shut down a little bit. Piggles here is taking some damage, trying to find themselves on a flank, but that payload has just been stalled, and the map's been kind of flipped here.
Yeah, I mean, University of Toronto now just, again, when you're trying to look at how bigbigbigttarfan is trying to get around and trying to hold those spaces, it's kind of gotten their way. University of Toronto finally gets it rolling. And they get control of that kind of early high ground there. That's been so important. But now they have to fight through this choke point, which is going to be so much harder to do while you're trying to keep this cart moving. bigbigbigttarfan is just going to look for the re-engage.
Yeah, and Tarfan, I think that they're feeling a little bit awkward here because you would expect the cart to be at that choke point by this point, but it hasn't quite reached yet. A nice Discord on the Laufey takes him down to 1 in only a single down to half in a single engagement, but Bearboot is found really early. Misha is finding a lot of value out of having very little time to work with. You cannot let the DPS find that much when you're supposed to be pressuring them as much as you should be right now. Laufey has to play this corner bit, but they have made it past the choke point. Now Haru taking up space, was eating up heals for a little while, but those supports had to fall back a bit. Now Misha finding another DPS in Piggles. They are just picking them off slowly but surely, making a little bit of space, never having to take a full team fight. It does come down though, and the Zen ult as well. A nice barrage though ends up taking down that cage really quickly and again drops as well. So University of Toronto have found more in this fight than they have so far in the entirety of the game, and they're going to finally make some really good space.
That was fascinating series of events because we threw down cage, we nanoed cage, and then we tranced cage, so now we're just behind into this laser where University of Toronto cleans up for free. And I mean, you didn't really need it, but better safe than not at checkpoint A.
Yeah, I that might also be a read on how good University of Toronto's ultimate economy is right now, too.
Yeah, that could be both, yeah. I mean, Tarfan kind of overspent there, and Spicyto's now going to go to they're going to give it up to Zen's not finding the value they wanted, so it's going to be the utility of speed here. The bigger problem to me is still Misha, though. Like, it's funny, Tarfan banned out Ashe, and University of Toronto is just like, okay, we'll just play the Pharah here. We'll just do that. Because Barefoot is really not keeping this, this Pharah in check. That's kind of their one job right now, is to make sure that Misha doesn't really have this free reign of the skies in these flanks, and instead Misha's just owning it, just like that.
Oh. Again as well, and the cage does go down from Laufey, but does
that's a huge purple.
By Piggles, really big. Orange Peel finds again, both of the backliners are down, so it looked like a chance just for a moment for T-Tar, but man, University of Toronto are rolling.
I mean, that was a huge purple from again, but unfortunately no capitalize on it. Yeah, again, Misha just gets the win, just kind of wins this flight versus ground duel, and just kind of again wins this out. They'll have a I mean, there's going to be a Nano Barrage online. I see moving Pharah already. We're kind of in a great position for University of Toronto to win this out once this passes.
Yeah, and also playing slow as well, knowing how much time they have to work with. They disengage away from that overclock. So now that's another ultimate wasted by Tarfan. They have so little value, and there's that moving ultimate. Gets the Nano, finds only Barefoot. When does it become bullying? I mean, at this point, it's just becoming really targeted, and these targets from Big Tarfan, they are falling slowly but surely. They'll get cleaned up, and it's going to be the second point taken with 2.5 minutes left. Piggles, what? That is, wait, huge commit. Finds the triple.
Okay.
DPS available, so if Barefoot here can find a tank or the Ana, both are very low, and the rest of the team is staggering back in. So that was a savior play from Piggles there. A really big ant, but it's a little too late. Haru does finish off the last two, and Tarfan are going to hold.
Wow, I'm actually impressed. I thought that was a very desperation play, but Tarfan making those two ultimates work. They recognized there's nothing in the way of it, and that targets were low. Longer fights go on. Genji gets that ability, like we said, to dash reset and just kind of find those low value targets. And in the last minute, they save it. So they do have a cage and a sound barrier. There's nothing really coming up that requires either of those. I mean, if they drop the cage from Haru, Orange Peel should have the laser to kind of negate that out. So Spicy Toast Sound Barrier is going to be super key to this fight.
Yeah, the cage comes out first, though, and it's a quick purple onto Laufey, who goes really low and is able to be taken out. The cage does go down a little bit early, but Laufey dropping first. You never want to lose your tank that early. The Orbital Ray gets committed. A huge commit here, but it's also a sound barrier from Spicy Toast, so Big Tarfan are not going to be very well threatened. And eventually the rest of University of Toronto will fall, and it'll be another hold. We may be looking at one more good fight from University of Toronto.
Yeah, a bit of a miscommunication there, thinking, okay, we passed the worst, let's send in the laser and try to follow up. But you would have rather have saved that here. That might cost them. That's kind of in the neutral. Computer WoW does have a nano, and we are coming into the DPS ult for University of Toronto. But I mean, it's kind of pressure on Barefoot now. University of Toronto should be leading these ultimates, and with this angle, Mook should be able to build the rest of this. So a little bit more time, and Toronto leads this ult economy and should give them the win advantage here.
They're trying not to get surrounded as well. They're having trouble focusing on Laufey, but Misha does find Piggles, who is trying to look for a flank there. Really nice shot from afar. Now it's the nano boost going into Grumpy Mook, and they're double nanoed as well. They do have 2 nanos on their side. I mean, that's going to be just trying to match Piggles for play of the game there. They are going to be able to cap, so this game's not going to end just yet.
Yeah, the old bonus nano just to make sure Ana can survive there has become quite a popular pick, but I mean, Grumpy Mook just absolutely got those heads, got those bodies, I guess, with that Sojourn. A 3-piece is enough. But again, Misha just continues to open this up for them with another barrage building so quickly. Like, Misha continues to kind of run out these angles, and I kind of wish we'd see the Diva just to get a little bit more check. I'm not too crazy about the Haru. I'm not too crazy about this tank pick from Haru, but it's enough. I kind of wish we'd just get the Diva to kind of help balance it out, but it's not my last fight to deal with.
Now, when they've pushed this one a little bit longer than you would have expected as well, a lot of ultimates coming out really quick. It is a nano blade that's going to find 2, but Misha finds 2 of their own. It's a third for Piggles, who gets past the cage fight there to clean up Misha. So bent and used again, even nanoed that blade there. So definitely needed that one to come out on top. Ooh, Laufey was so close, but Piggles goes down as well.
Okay, that's actually really good for the side of UT. That means that they can They can likely, because they have the closer spawn, so they should be able to get the tanks back. Pickles might have to even go to the Tracer. Spicy Toast coming into a sound barrier here. It's gonna have to get used versus this laser. So again, I'm watching Orange Peel. They've got the peel, but they need to get the aggressive use of this laser down if they want to win. An opening pick from Computer is good.
Ooh, a really, really nice repulsor there that pulls everybody in. Finds an elimination on the Spicy Toast, but Piggles gets up in the sky, gets that dash for an elimination, and goes ahead while the cage is up, gets a little bit of healing now, is in the back. I'm going to put a ton of damage. It's an anti as well.
Wait,
that's
what?
getting cleaned up. And this is in overtime as well. bigbigbigttarfan are slowly but surely shutting them down.
Hold on. Did that say Computer's nade took out Grumpy Nook? Did the nade get deflected there?
It did. I mean, yeah, Piggles was standing
What? It got
right
deflected
in
on
your
the
face.
bounce?
Mm-hmm. Anti
Wow.
the tank and Anna as well.
Interesting. Well, I guess we're gonna get used to that. That's just not one you see a lot of. So
No.
a good. I mean, I think that being shown really speaks to Piggles' play. They're very heads up, and considering Genji is not the natural kind of predator for Pharah, they're doing a very good job of kind of managing this Pharah without a traditional hit scan, without having Bearfu kind of have to just lock in to make sure Misha can't take care of business. Piggles has really kind of been a standout on this map. I gotta give it to him. Their Genji play has been phenomenal into a world where like Genji's on paper, this is kind of a tough place for Genji to be. You have two flex supports who are both, one's mobile and Ana does have a lot of dual potential, but like Piggles has been just phenomenal today on Genji. Really just incredible play from them.
Definitely a player to watch for the rest of this game. Has performed really well, but looking like they might be making a switch here. It looks like Bearfu wants to take the Genji, and Piggles is going to open up on that Widowmaker. Misha is still on that Pharah, so might have to play extremely conservative. Actually, now we're seeing Bearfu go onto the Pharah, and the Mercy commit from again.
Speedy, I'm not buying this. I'm not buying this until we get past opening. I'm not going to talk about this until we get past opening stuff. Yeah, that was just for an opening shot. Try to get some picks. Bearfu maybe, I don't know, if Bearfu stays on this far, I'm going to be genuinely interested because now we suddenly have an air duel. But yeah, Piggles over to the Sojourn makes a lot more sense here. Bearfu taking the Sky duel, I don't hate. I just do think it's going to be very interesting because Misha has been very dominant against counters. So Bearfu has quite the ground to make up. It might just be enough to play a distraction to keep Misha busy, but still a tough place to be in for Bearfu. A big ask.
Grumpy Mook making those calls in the back. They're up on the little bit of high ground that you get on your defense here that the team's pushing in, and bigbigbigttarfan do get a lot of space with that. I mean, without even taking much at all, they've been able to push themselves. They're pretty much going to push themselves to the choke point without having to find an elimination yet.
Yeah, not a death to be had, but they do get a lot of space there. Laufey gets caught out in a sleep, and you see Bearfu just trying to pressure off one of these angles, and Spicy Toast and Yada is another one of those. Again, we saw this earlier, it didn't quite work out, but they're feeling better about it now that they feel that Spicy Toast can kind of live in the background safely. And with the Sojourns gone, I mean, this Discord Orb, I think, is going to make a ton of difference.
Yeah, and these Pharahs are going to be so important as well. It's going to be about the aerial superiority who ends up winning at that 1v1. For the moment, it's going to be Bearfu out of the fight, so Misha going to be the only one to pick up on it. Laufey is antied right now. There is a nano out on board, though, so Laufey could get healed up, just barely staying alive. Gives Orange Peel enough time to pick up for the DPS. Now it's back and forth a little bit. Misha does end up going down, so that Pharah doesn't have to be worried about it anymore. It has been 1 HP for Laufey for a very long time, and now getting healed way back up causes Haru to have to fall back, and it looks like University of Toronto are going to be able to hold this point still for just a moment, but it hasn't been a full disengage yet.
I mean, they do have the spawns in their favor at this point, but Orange Peel, once again, with that first laser on site, just has to avoid Bearfu. I mean, that hits the tank. That's good. That's a good ante.
What a great escape route from Haru, though, and they pump the immediate heals into him. Bearfu finds 2, then heads up to try to find a 3rd. Computer does hold their own for a little bit. The Orbital Ray getting committed from Orange Peel is going to be good enough to keep pushing them for a little while. Computer found another, and Orange Peel as well. The supports are trying to pick up everything here, trying to hold on their own, but Laufey not likely to let them take down the rest. So they hold once again just for the moment when it really looked like after Bearfu's barrage, they were going to crumble.
I mean, shout out to Computer, who's got that high ground cover there. You can see how far away and safety that the supports are playing from. It's going to be a Nano barrage with a cage coming up for UT. There's just so much matched by the Nano and Rails from Piggle. It's going to be Nano Rails to kick it off, and that cage is just going to be in the way.
Yeah, but it does not stop everything. Misha is still able to find 2, and it's the entire back line. Finds 4 throughout the length of that fight. Might just find another. No, Grumpy Mook's going to take the 5K, but that's all right. Misha, absolutely huge. And now only 45 seconds left to work with for TTarfan.
Last fight, TTarfan kind of gave up everything. They'll have a sound barrier, but it's going to get probably against the Nano Rails here, and it's going to have to get used for it. Spicy Toast, again, just kind of dictate how this is going to play out. Has to make sure they time this up. Next in line is, you know, again, just University of Toronto. They have this safe positioning of the corner here. They are just dealing damage in as TTarfan just round this corner.
This is such a lovely spot to have a Nano overclock at, and it starts with Piggles going down. The sound barrier is a little too late to save that one, but does go down eventually. There's an anti as well, but it can't outdo that sound barrier. Grumpy Mook finds a second. Bearfu is up on the high ground, trying to find some of the supports, but gets taken down by Misha. Not many members left. In fact, it's only going to be 1 now remaining for Big TTarfan. University of Toronto are going to take a map off of our two-time seasoned champions. They are still fighting for this one.
I mean, this is interesting. You know, Farah banned out in 1, and suddenly Misha absolutely gets Farah back and just runs a clinic here. Yeah, Spicy Toast said it best. Hot set. Just a good set. I mean, Misha's on this Farah has been phenomenal, and I don't think TTarfan really had, you know, really knew what to do about it. They didn't really try to bring in a traditional hit scan. No Cassidy, no Soldier. Like, you banned out Ashe. You kind of actually punished yourself by getting rid of the Ashe there. So a lot of things that maybe TTarfan thought they were planning against picked the wrong angle, because there was no Sigma. There was no, you know, long poke game. There was just the Mauga in your face. So University of Toronto, I love it. Playing to their strengths and really using what they have to their advantage and keeping themselves alive.
Well, we've seen them go head-to-head in an even game. We've seen them go head-to-head in a game where University of Toronto get their map pick. And now we're going to see what happens when TTarfan get a map pick of their own. So they're going to try to swing things in their favor and make sure that they clean this one up like they did the first time they played University of Toronto. But first, we're going to head to a short break. After this, we will have our Game 3. So stick around, because just like the wise words of one of our players here, this is a very hot set. We will see you after this short break.
Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours.
Welcome back in, everybody. We have a very, very close game right now between bigbigbigttarfan600 and University of Toronto Academy Blues. It is 1-1 right now coming out of our break. And man, honestly, the most dominant performance we've seen in this game has been from University of Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, University of Toronto finally showing us a lot of life coming in from that 4 seed. You know, and all it took was unbanning Pharah and getting passed into your secret weapon. But with new sets of bans and a new map, we're going into Saravasa, as is the pick of Ttarfan. You know, everything changes because now both teams kind of really understand, all right, who is carrying, who do we really need to like kind of watch out for. So like Pharah's off the table, and we know that that's not going to happen. So if I were Ttarfan, I'm getting rid of that Mauga, like period. Like that has been, you're not winning the duel. You look better on the Winston. I've never liked the nothing against Haru. Haru has been playing incredibly well, things considered. Like the Mauga just needs to go, and thank you, because that makes total sense to me.
Yeah, definitely makes a lot of sense going straight for that Mauga, but now it is up to University of Toronto to figure out what they're going to counter back with out of this damage or support. And are they going to go for one of those hit scans? No, it's going to be the Genji. So they are going to target one of the difficulties, the dive, but of course with the Pharah not being likely to be picked out here, it is the Genji getting shut down. So that is going to stunt once again a little bit of what Ttarfan have been working with. The things that have been actually working for them in the comps that they're running are getting banned out, so it does still leave them a bit weak.
Yeah, I mean, considering Piggle's performance on the Genji, you know, a short break ago, this shock is literally unsurprising. But we do have another sub back in. Nyla is coming back in, which tells me, again, goes back to the bench, which means we are probably not seeing an Ana. It's likely to be, I have to assume we're matching the Juno again. The Juno Ana look is kind of the more preferred one in a lot of ways. So again, I kind of am surprised as we move to Saravasa that we didn't see that sooner. So now the question to me just kind of becomes, what does University of Toronto do? Like the linchpin to a lot of their success has been the Mauga. And with that gone, on a particularly strong Mauga map, I would argue, I'm very curious to see what we're going to do, because Ttarfan's just going to go back to the dive. They're going to play Tracer instead of Genji, and they're going to be in their like comfy position. So pressure now really on Utah.
Yeah, and then the other one that we have as well from University of Toronto is the fact that Adam is actually subbing in for
that's
Grumpy
right, yes.
Mook now. So they have pulled Grumpy Mook out, which is that has mostly been playing Sojourn top to bottom and not much else. Has been performing fairly well on it, especially in the last map. Has had some huge plays to clean that one up on the defense. But now Adam is swapping in. So is this to try and solidify a Tracer duel, do you think, or something else along the way?
I mean, that could be we're putting in a Tracer player. I also, again, wouldn't hate it if we were bringing in something. You already kind of crippled the Genji in a lot of ways by, you crippled that flanking potential by taking out the Genji. So I wouldn't be shocked if Adam comes in to, play something a little bit out of character now that you've taken away the Genji, maybe something a different flanker as Sombra wouldn't even shock me that much. But it's going to look like the Queen coming out of our team in front of her, which makes, yeah. I mean, Queen is strong here. I see nothing wrong with this paired with the Kiriko. You have Cleanse available as well. With T-Tarfan, I guess the question is going to be... Okay, that is theirs. And Toronto's rolling out on a ball dive.
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, already getting in there, getting a few of those players tossed up in the air, and then gets a clean escape as well. So good first. Ooh, maybe not so clean just yet. They're really facing that one down. Laufey expected them to force the point a lot quicker, but they did not. They forced the issue with the ball in particular. Adam gets taken down as well. So that was a really easy walk-on for T-Tarfan.
Okay, so we brought in Adam to play a ball dive here, which not the most common thing to do here, but ball comps are strong. I'm kind of just not... I'm kind of curious why we didn't just stick with what worked and then replace the Mauga, but I guess when Laufey, this is their next comfortable pick, we make hamsters out of Samoans, I guess. It's going to be tough for University of Toronto because they have to play a much slower dive here. It's a lot more counting on Adam and Misha, who now Adam over on the Tracer. There was that Tracer duel we were expecting. It's going to really count on the DPS line here after these changes to kind of get these picks where Laufey just disrupts.
Yeah, and it's really interesting how these tanks can really change the style of play. Haru finding Orange Peel really quickly there. The Junker Queen seeming to work out a lot better so far. They know exactly where that recall is going to. And once again, they're going to chase down a player. Really good focus fire here. Bearfu does throw out the Pulse Bomb. Doesn't find an elimination with it solidly, but Laufey goes down as a result. So they continue to chase him back, and that'll be the first point going over to T-Tarfan. They have had a lot more control, and the way that they're playing is... Compositionally, it looks so similar, but stylistically, it is much, much different to how Toronto are playing. Toronto so much more scattered, and T-Tarfan coming at you, honestly, like a team of a Wrecking Ball, rather than just having the Wrecking Ball playing an off position.
Yeah, I mean, this Junker Queen is basically kind of, again, more of a brawl divey comp. Everybody just kind of collapses in to where Haru kind of decides it, whereas Laufey kind of just off on their own does manage to find Piggles in the background, but, it's kind of Laufey just, kind of creating these situations where they just disrupt and cause problems. It's really a very, survivable but independent comp, and University of Toronto it looks like they finally created enough chaos to get a win here.
Yeah, and I mean, they did have the assistance of it being a movement phase as well, a transition between the flashpoints here. They're not going to have that advantage every time. Now they have to question, how are we going to play this when when Big T-Tarfan are able to be grouped up and pushing together again?
I mean, T-Tarfan doesn't necessarily even need to be grouped together. They want to be, but UT is kind of just has to make sure they play and not get caught out like that. Laufey goes a little bit long, and suddenly now everybody who doesn't have a mobility is just kind of just stuck. They're just kind of SOL here.
Overstayed their welcome just a little bit, Laufey there, and it looks like it's going to be a full disengagement from University of Toronto as well, who they'll be coming in with a lot of ultimates online, but T-Tar are going to have everything.
I mean, yeah. I'm trying to see, what's the difference. Adam doesn't have a Pulse Bomb. That must have went out last fight and found no value. But, I mean, Misha and University of Toronto does have the high ground. They have the angle advantage.
Yeah, a little bit of a late response from Spicy Toast there to try and counter that. But now Computer is going to throw down their own. It's actually a double support commit. It's everything from the side of University of Toronto to try and take this one. Misha does find Nyla, so that's a good shutdown. Haru gets taken down as well. It costs them everything, but University of Toronto, with very many players going low, are going to come out of that one with the flashpoint in their hands again.
It's 50 to 50. It's still fairly close, and again, like you noted, very similar looking comps on paper, but how they play out is so different. And right now, with the second University of Toronto and Laffy kind of create the disruption and create the chaos, it really is their key to success. It's really what's giving them their wins. Whereas TTARFan, they kind of have to play a little bit more as a unit. It's a slower roving death ball that can play a little bit separated, but with Pickles holding onto the rails, it's kind of on them to make anything happen here.
Oh, not going to have the grapple to get back on. It's not every day you see a Wrecking Ball get boofed off the map, but Spicy Toast is going to have that one quick, and Laufey dropping early has been a really terrible repeat throughout the point of this flashpoint so far, throughout this map. It's just always been the one difference maker, the reason that University of Toronto never really get their foot in the door, and now TTARFan are going to get a second flashpoint on just because of that.
No, they didn't even make the touch in time. Yeah, they Utah just kind of recognized we're not going to make it, so let's just play around it. Unfortunate as we go to game point here. It's, we're going to get a fight in the mid. Oof, that is rough. Pickles opens it up, and suddenly this transition phase looks so much worse for Utah.
Yeah, Pickles does get caught out, though. Extends a little bit too much, gets that slide, and it's going to be a disengagement from TTARFan. They figure they can maybe give this one away. They see how the back and forth goes. They've been very successful so far, so they're just going to pull back to point, try and hold position that actually needs to be played. I think they're pretty confident that, honestly, Pickles will make it back in time. Now, Orange Peel having this Kitsune could be really important if the team groups. The first cap is from Big TTARFan, but a really nice cleanse keeps Bearfu very healthy to keep going in this fight. Pulse Bomb as well does not connect. A lot of players from University of Toronto really low, though. The Kitsune does come out to get all that healing going, and nobody capitalizes from TTARFan on any of those low targets. Laufey puts out the mines, makes it a little bit difficult to move around, but some of these players from TTARFan are still on point. Bearfu gets caught out, goes down early. Spicy Toast had committed the barrier, but does not keep everyone alive, so playing it slow works out for University of Toronto.
Again, this is a comp that really is waiting for the right time to land on it, and the Rampage is there. There's no cleanse, but there is a sound barrier, and Laffy manages to get a boop out of it all. Again, this University of Toronto squad, these longer fights favor them. They have significantly more sustainability and mobility, and now Misha the rails are just a feather in the cap here.
80% though for Big TTARFan on the board. I mean, those long fights might work for University of Toronto in the long run, but the fact that Big TTARFan just put themselves at the point where using these next two ultimates, of which University of Toronto have nothing to respond with, using these next two ultimates could be the closer for the match.
Yeah, it's one fight away, considering there's no sound barrier up, and UT again in that position where they had to give everything away. They kind of have to play this aggressive, and I respect this. That's what they needed to do. They need to bring the fight to the TTARFan if they're gonna try to stall this out.
Really great target focus as well, taking down Piggles. That may have been really good ult tracking from the team, knowing they had to respond to something that was had on the other side. Nyla goes down as well, so TTARFan not going to get this one just yet, and coming up on that 65 point, almost 70. If these players get staggered out, they might not have everybody back in time to get this flashpoint. Some of the players are still fighting. Bearfu actually finds Adam, but then Bearfu goes down really late.
There's still going to be a chance to touch for TTARFan, and last time we were in this situation, someone had to give their life, and it kind of forced them to misuse some of these ults. So UT in a situation where they can make this happen again.
Yeah, there's the quick Kitsune coming out, and honestly almost gets them the point. So Pickles taking a lot of space there. They waited for some of these ultimates to be closer to online for University of Toronto, but Adam was the only one who had a chance at ending that with the pulse and didn't find anything. Now Laufey has to survive long enough for these mines to come in, but that is very unlikely. Orange Peels drops, and in a fight that looked like wasn't even going to happen, the sound barrier drops and may as well just be the closer. There's no way you're finding these eliminations now. Big TTARFan can play as aggressive as they want. They're going to go ahead and clean up Suravasa to put themselves up 2-1 in this match.
It's unfortunately just overall a little bit of a comp mismatch when you have a comp that wants to run down targets versus a comp that wants to be spread out and play a little bit more isolative. When you run out of those movement abilities, when you catch all the Tracer with the blinks or Lucio without speed, it's really easy for this kind of hyper rush Junker Queen to just kind of decide that now's the time to go. I still have my speed. You used all of yours. So great micromanagement from the side of TTARFan here. Again, that's what makes them you know, that's how you get undefeated into the first seed, right? You manage all of your micros, you make sure you know exactly what you're doing, you make sure you're tracking well and paying attention and recognizing when you can take fights and when you can wait a little bit longer to kind of close out and win a round.
I think that that's something actually that you bring up. Some of the terminology that you just used there, I think it's a good reminder for people watching that Brawl and Rush back in the Reinhardt Reaper May
they're
days
very
kind of
different.
all got lumped in together as one thing, but
Yeah.
I think Rush is actually a better way to describe what happens when you trade out a dive tank for the Junker
Yes.
Queen. It's more about overwhelming with speed and damage rather than taking out a long fight like you would expect with Brawl. Brawl has a lot of survivability aspects to it, and just because the Junker Queen has the shout to kind of self-sustain and get all those heals pumped right into them, it doesn't mean that it's about taking a long fight. It really is about the overwhelming rush. So I do think that terminology, maybe we need to bring back some of the more differences. We need to trade out the bunker and poke are two different things. Rush and brawl are two different things. These are compositions that people need to remember. There's a lot of ways to play this game, and with perks coming in, it's been no more evident than it is right now. So many ways to play, and it really worked out for TTARFan. They're playing that heavy rush and just overwhelming University of Toronto. They had some good responses, and when TTARFan were forced to play slow or make rotations, they weren't able to get their feet back under them, and that's a consequence of playing a composition like that. Is when you're slow, you are really slow. It shows very quickly where your weaknesses are. So a great response by University of Toronto in some of the situations, but I feel like they didn't play their own style well enough.
Yeah, which is interesting. You know, I had some question marks when I was looking at the Mauga ban and going, okay, well, we don't have Mauga, so we're just gonna kind of throw everything out the window and go to a full, you know, ball disruption dive comp. Very interesting kind of, you know, a way to go about it. But now that Mauga's back on the table, they should be, you know, because they didn't look bad. Let me also preface, they didn't look bad on that. It's a difficult comp to run and to make work. So they handled it very well. Now that they have Mauga back, though, I feel like they should be in a position to, again, feel like they're back in the driver's seat. Farah, who they had an incredible run with Misha, is back. They have the Mauga back again, so they can try to force that mirror if they want. And now they have a map pick, which is unsurprisingly King's Row, so... You know, it was bound to happen. We're never going to get out of a set of Overwatch without a King's Row. So, but at King's Row, like, all those things are still very good there. Farah, a little bit less so because you don't have as many, you know, high areas that you can hide from. But particularly, she's good on point A, the capture segment, so you can do that before you have to worry about swapping off her for the, you know, the very closed-in C.
Yeah, the Farah, Lucio, and Mauga, as well as the Genji, who is not as much of a staple in modern King's Row, maybe because there's a lot of ways to play DPS, so it's harder to find like a staple. But Genji has been around for a long time. A lot of dive comps have used it on King's Row. It's definitely prevalent, certainly exists. The Ana has a lot of straightaways to work with in the second and third point as well. Even some distance to play from the choke point on the first, so not impossible there. But everything that make up the staples of these two teams are now back on the board. So I think both teams have the chance to play what they really prefer right now. Both styles really work well here. Dive has worked extremely well in the past here, while especially with the Diva currently has been working a lot better lately, especially on this first point. And then the Mauga is, honestly, for as long as we can remember, since Mauga has come out, has just been an absolute chokeholder here on King's Row. So both styles work, and I think if either team wants to commit to what they're good at, it really is their best chance of winning this one.
All right. Well, we do have a couple of swaps in as well, which will help with the speculation. Mook is coming back in. Adam is going out, so probably Adam likely to be playing only for that dive comp. Piggles again will be coming once in again for Spicy. So again coming back in tells me we're going okay, but keeping Nyla in here tells me we're going to be playing like Ana Juno, which would make sense. But then again, TTARFan has a chance to do something hilarious here, and we'll see what they do their ban. But that tells me that the Ana's coming back in from the side of TTAR and Blues. The Blues, I mean, like, do you ban out the Winston here? Like, the Winston feels like a great target to get rid of. Maybe the Tracer. But, like, because I'm trying to think of, you said it, most of the staples are gone. I'm sorry?
All right. I suppose Zenyatta is one of the bans of
That is a
all
choice.
time.
That is one of the choices of all time. We see Zenyatta once on Shambali, and that's our. I think we look. I respect the Blues. I think we need to rethink about what happened on map 1. The Winston is way more of a problem. TTRFan ban out the Sojourn. Yeah, that's fine. They're just gonna play Ashe instead. I don't hate that. I'm not here to dunk on teams or call out really, like say when someone made a decision. I don't know. That Zenyatta feels like a mistake to me, Speedy. I don't like that at all. I'm sorry. I know again came in and you saw a Zenyatta look, but Spicy was playing Zenyatta. So that tells me that there's a little bit of maybe an unsurety as to what, from previous maps. And that makes me question a few things here.
Yeah, that definitely speaks lost to me at this point, and maybe they know something we don't. I mean, we do have our switches. Again, is coming in on support, and like you said, last time we did see the Zenyatta, so it's not impossible that that's something that might be picked up here, but is it really the biggest problem of yours? Because it's the best that you've handled TTRFan in this entire match so far. So what is it that you're scared of about it?
I have to assume we're just afraid of Discord Orb. Because Mauga with a Discord Orb does melt a lot faster. It doesn't matter if you cardiac. You do kind of just burn through a lot of it. And you had mentioned that there is going to be, a lot of straight sight lines. And Zenyatta has some good little hidey holes, particularly in the streets phases. But, I don't know, fam. I don't know. I mean, I guess they're going to roll out. I guess TTRFan's going to roll out on the Mauga anyways, is my guess. Which still, again, kind of strikes me weird. I think the Winston was a better look for them. Oh, no, this has to be UT. This has to be UT because they're playing the Pharah here.
Yeah, the Ashe, the Ashe as well.
So that would make sense. So this comp from UT, looks and makes a ton of sense. I buy everything. This is all their best pieces together. It is match point, so they need this. It's a little diveable backline, and considering we didn't get rid of Winston, I wouldn't be shocked if that's what, if TTRFan just kind of goes, hey, look, that's 3 really diveable characters. Let's go get the Winston on a fight loss.
Yeah, no, you said it. They do have a lot of diveable heroes here. Piggles is going to be starting out on the Echo, so going to take that Sky Duel a little bit differently, and Misha's already low, so suffers more. Bearfu once again being the unusual counter. That, different kind of hit scan, perhaps. Piggles there does find Grumpy Mook as well, so everybody just seeming to find the targets that they're supposed to be taken out by here. It's an immediate retreat from University of Toronto. They're just going to pull back. This is going to be first point to TTRFan already.
Yeah, and Bearfu's not giving an inch, which is the correct, decision. Just, don't lay off. The end is in sight, and you can do it. So, I thought we were going to play the Winston here. No Winston needed. TTRFan just going to take the mirror and decide to win it. I think it's smart. Piggle's already into a duplicate here. 74 is so quick. That's insane how fast they are building that duplicate.
Yeah, did a great job. I think helped a lot with the Pharah duel, and then also took out that Ashe. So both of the DPS went down. That was really, really big. Now Piggles trying to take out Misha, and just might. That was a ton of damage really quickly. Has the focus beam and does find Misha. Laufey drops as well. Bearfu goes down there in that fight, but it's definitely too late to make anything out of it. The supports are just trying to keep each other up now, and it could be really late kills on them. It is. Orange Peel ends up going down real late. This is going to be so much distance for free. I mean, we're at about 5 minutes left.
Yeah, TTRFan just didn't give them the chance to set up. They took the fight to them, much like how Bearfu was right in the front, and then immediately the rest of the team got up and to their faces. Computer, oh wow, does have a nano. It's too early for the self-nano. It's going to go onto the tank is my guess. I wouldn't be shocked if Orange Peel, again, just throws in this laser. It's their only tool versus this everything that's coming online for TTRFan here.
I'm really curious what the duplicate's going to be into here if they go for another Mauga at this point. Once again, no self-duplicates, or no, self-team duplicates. They find Laufey, though, who's anti, so that's a quick elimination. 2 orbital rays into each other, but Nyla's finding the best of it. So even with the commitment from University of Toronto, they are still dropping. They've used all of their tools, and now they're just going to come into it with DPS holds, but that blade's not going to have a nano. Grumpy Mook drops while his point touches. Oh my goodness, a duplicate nano onto Haru. Piggles used that one just for funsies, but it's still ult economy looking in advantage of T-Tar.
Yeah, I mean they won with Orbital Ray and Duplicate, and University of Toronto had to give up at least one. It's going to be the carry coming in as well. UT is coming into all their ultimates though, and with Misha down one, Barefoot going deep for two, looking for more. I mean, the T-Tar fan has not let them have a single breath of air. They want to close this out. They are done having fun now. They want to go to the grand finals, and they are proving that they are earning it.
They really are. I mean, they have 5 minutes left on the clock once again. They're sitting at, and they're about to close out this map. This is so brutal, the University of Toronto, but they do have a lot of resources available to them. They have the cage fight to try and finally slow down a fight, force it close range. They can have the Ash shooting in from afar without having to be a part of the fight. It can be a really big answer, but that Echo is not going to be caught in it, and that's really good as well. You have a lot of ways to counter it. Now the cage fight goes down and catches just about nothing. So it's a retreat from Big T-Tar fan, but only an elimination on the Piggles. It still might be enough as they start to push forward, but a great retreat from T-Tar fan.
Yeah, great disengage. Nano onto Misha, and I mean we already have the self nano available too. So UT not unwilling to throw it in to close out. They need to get a secure fight here. They've been caught out like that, so I don't hate that decision, but it definitely might come back to hurt them. They do have 3 other ults online for UT versus Cage and Laser. So this Bob, wow.
Yeah, Barefoot finding Grumpy move really early. Haru drops, though. That's a really good way to shut them down, is to find their tank first. And the Bob in the back does find Piggles as well. Piggles out in the open for quite a bit too long if the Bob got them that long after going forward. So they clean them up and spawn, but I mean, it really only cuts 30 seconds off the clock. How many times do you have to do that before you can actually secure this map?
Well, if 3:30 on the clock tells me we got to do it at least another, I don't know, what, 7 times? So,
yeah.
I mean, they'll have the ultimates at least for now. Nyla does have their orbital ray up, though, and there's not really an answer for it. This Kitsune Rush from Orange Peel is going to have to be used to disengage, if anything.
Yeah, and the orbital rate is there, and they're continuing to engage because the blade comes out as well with the Kitsune online. A lot of slashes going forward. No eliminations found, and Nyla takes the 1v1 for an elimination onto Misha. Now Piggles has duplicated. Gonna have that cage online very, very quickly, but it looks like a lot of disengagement prevents Piggles from ever getting it, so they don't have to worry about that. However, they still have to worry about Piggles in Echo form. Barefoot drops, but there might not be enough players here. It's gonna be a Widowmaker from Misha to try and find anything to save this one. Piggles wisely playing behind cover, trying not to get caught out there. It's a touch. It's an Nano now onto Piggles, getting a lot of damage out really quickly. Antied onto the point. Laufey pops that cage, does stay alive. Gonna have some players trapped. It looks like they're gonna be able to respond. A lot of the respawns are here. They played their time. They've been able to hold at the 0.37 meter marker. They'll eventually be able to drop Haru. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe this fight's just gonna drag out. Haru decides to jump for a reset. Very wise.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you know you have a timer. Completion in any level is better than that, but is that a late stagger? Yes, it is. Barefoot gets caught out too, which buys even more time, and suddenly from 3:30 to 2 is now reasonable. Barefoot and Haru, there's a Cage Blade coming up. Again gets picked from Misha, though, and suddenly, again, a little more time off the clock. Now with those 2 ultimates for T-Tar fan, though, it's a Blade and a Cage. Like, that is enough to kind of close this out if they don't spend them simply getting to the cart here. Toronto did spend almost everything to get those ults out, and their closest is a Kitsune Rush, which again is probably going to have to be used to just get away from this eventual cage drop. So Orange Peel, well, again, a lot of pressure on them here.
Yeah, and Misha has to keep pushing further and further back, and now with the cage down, Misha will be of no help while that's up to get eliminated with Barefoot pulling out the blade. Gonna try to find another. Does end up finding the Ana. It's only 2 players left remaining. Grumpy actually finds again, but nobody is there to touch. Can't get back in time. So listen, it's not 5 minutes in the bank, but it is still a 3-point capture, and most of that map went extremely smooth for T-Tar fam.
That is significantly better than it could have been, considering UT did not win a fight until 3rd point C. That is significantly better when T-Tar fan is just constantly pushing, the tempo and where these fights are going, when they're constantly not giving the UT squad a chance to catch a breath or reset. It isn't until they really get the chance to that they finally put their foot down and get some time off the clock. You know what? I rescind my Zenyatta. I would just want to throw this out there. I rescind my Zenyatta rant because not that it would have made too much of a difference, but you know, it's clearly, you know, it clearly wasn't in the plan. It's clearly not their bigger problem. They clearly were struggling against the, you know, the comp that was being mirrored anyways. UT gonna show us something different, it looks like, and TTARFan just gonna ride out on what's worked for them. Again, probably likely to end up on that Ana, maybe just a late pick. So I mean, the Reinhardt would be interesting. I don't if that comes all the way out, like Reinhardt's not great into Mauga. He does have a little bit of, you know, he can kind of shut down the Mauga with that shield a little bit, but I really don't know. This is a slow comp considering there's no there's no speed for this UT squad. So this is going to be a very slow brawl comp trying to get this Reinhardt and Brigitte into position.
Yeah, Grumpy Mook is trying to find shots from afar here, but can't land anything, so it's going to end up swapping onto the Ashe. So going to commit to the Ashe on the attack here, and Laufey is trying to get and engage onto the high ground. They pushed very far, but actually pushing
where are you
what
going?
Looks like alone, charging all the way around the map, solo, playing this one by themselves. So the DPS are trying to catch up, but the team is split for so long.
Yeah.
TTARFan can just keep University of Toronto on their side of the map now.
That was so much effort for that to leave our supports behind. I've seen that happen multiple times though, where someone like a Reinhardt tries to go off and get, you know, try to create a distraction or try to turn heads, and then the team just realizes, oh look, the supports were left alone. You know, they're out of position. Laufey gonna give up the Reinhardt. Yeah, that's not gonna work here. We'll match the Mauga. I think it was the smarter play anyways, but now we're stuck in the chaos here, Speedy, because I mean, TTARFan's now caught out of position.
Yeah, and they had to put a lot of their resources into Haru to keep them alive, but it doesn't look like University of Toronto are really pushing into that. They play a little bit back, and Laufey ends up being the Mauga to go down instead. So now it's just going to be cleanup work. You lose your tank here, and you're going to be trying to reset that one. You're not really going to be fully engaged, but I'm not sure why they weren't fully engaged when they had the damage output and they had the resources used up on the side of TTARFan.
Yeah, some interesting decisions kind of seem to be punishing Toronto here. They do have ultimates coming online, though. I mean, the Nano's matched. Haru is leading in Cage, and Piggles, again, has a duplicate on board. It's going to be a Nano to try to get the blade in, and, I mean, that is a big lot of slashing.
Anti and asleep as well onto Haru, who gets stomped as well, but we know what happens here. This is where the resources get put in. Piggles does have that Genji duplicate right now, but isn't using it for much of anything. It's just Bearfu on the front line right now. Laufey ends up going down again, and I mean, it's gonna come down to the ultimates here.
Yeah, I mean, the ult economy now favors Toronto, which works in their favor. They'll have almost all 5. It's just, again, it's just gonna, I'm watching Bearfu, I'm watching Haru. There's a Cage Blade online, and it depends who gets caught. Oh, what a purple. Wow.
Yeah, really big kills coming out on both sides. Laufey's purpled as well, but doesn't end up dropping. So most of the damage is actually all of the damage has now been rid from the side of TTARFan. This will definitely be a cap here for University of Toronto as long as they step on. They do have to commit their players to actually being on point here. There might be another retouch. Knowing the way TTARFan have played this, yeah, they are playing
they have a
past
laser.
the choke point, but the Cage fight is huge from Laufey, and it's not pushing it in. Grumpy Mook finds 3. They make those very well-wasted resources. A great Cage fight from Laufey and a huge barrage from Grumpy Mook. They saw the retouch coming, and they acted quickly on it. That is something we need to see more from them, is that quick reaction.
I agree with you. That was the absolutely correct, effective way to do it. You saw it, you knew it was coming, you played it, you cut them off from what they wanted to do. Agreed. I don't know that we needed 3 ultimates into that, though. It was 2 or 3, I believe. It was very costly, so TTARFan plenty happy to trade not really a touch on a lost point for 2 ultimates. And you'll see it. They'll push back here because they are into the neutral. And, I mean, it's Orange Peel's rally now is kind of the difference maker. As long as they move before again gets this Nano, they should be able to keep pushing forward.
And they've got a couple players that went a little bit too deep there. Piggles does find a Misha with good timing, but Orange Peel is picking up a bunch with this rally right now, keeping this team's pressure way, way forward. They're keeping it up just the same way TTARFan did. They might not have taken point 1 as quickly, but they're doing a good job of holding the momentum forward.
I know we've been super high on the DPS lines here, but shout out to Orange Peel, who across multiple heroes has looked phenomenal between the Brig, the Juno, and just having to play all those different roles has looked very, very good in keeping this UT in line. I mean, it's against Nano. There's not much in the way. Computer has one, but it's way behind, so it should just be a disengage here for UT.
Yeah, especially with the entire backline going down, there's nothing you can really do anymore. Or, sorry, not the entire backline. Yeah, Grumpy Mook ended up getting taken down there, but they're finding some late kills. Misha and Laufey did stick around a little too long. They're looking to pick up Computer right now on a late one, but it doesn't look like Bearfoo's going to commit to that, so not quite the stagger they were looking for. Now, as we look at ultimates, things are looking almost even.
It's about even, but I mean, Computer does have the nano advantage. We did use the one from again to trade out here, but more importantly, TTARFan is just denying them space. That is something that a lot of teams kind of forget to do. Sometimes is just deny and let them fight on the cart. The purple from Toronto is pretty big, but TTARFan, they can't move on it yet. They need to make sure they whittle down these targets before they go forward.
Yeah, the cage fight gets dropped again. Last time it was extremely successul, but it will be mirrored. It looks like a Venn diagram here.
Yep.
Going to be starting on both sides. And yeah, they both get locked into that cage. And it really goes net even. Honestly, only one player is lost, and it's the most important player to have when you're trying to engage a fight for University of Toronto, especially in as aggressive of a composition as you have here. Now, I think Bearfoo ends up committing that blade. They probably could have cleaned that up without it, but at least they find a lot of staggers to make it waste more time on the clock. I think you just wish you would have had that one here, given it could be final fight.
I don't think you're too worried. You already have Orbital Ray. If you're tracking well, you know that there's maybe a Bob. You know that the Bob's going to be there. You'll know that the barrage will be there. You know you can push aggressively into this Ray. You just need to make sure you have the numbers to win this out. You'll have your support ultimates, and if you push aggressively like they like to do, they should be able to win this out.
And Horror is trying to build up a little bit of that over health, but the Satellite Vector comes down, Orbital Ray. This Malga pushing very deep, and it pays off. Haru ends up helping to find some. TTARFan are eliminating one by one. The Stomp comes through. Toronto are going to try to stay alive in this one. They end up finding two. The Bob is big to find Nyla as well. Haru goes down, and now it's only the Echo behind them that they have to worry about. They actually end up winning that fight with 2 players down. They find the comeback. Only 1 player of each role. They have to stay on card here and cap this point, and they will. They've got another minute 30 on the clock.
I mean, now matching similar to TTARFan's bank here. Again, it did cost them a lot, but you do what you have to do here, as Misha does have this all-important high ground, now has the angle to the spawn, and denying a lot of those sight lines, so it's going to be harder for Bearfoo and Piggles to really kind of get in and put any of that flank pressure in. Mook holding onto an ult, but again has that nano and likely has the self-nano as well, so watch for, you know, the tank to probably get nanoed up, or, you know, wherever it ends up to survive.
Yeah, it's gonna go to Bear for a little while as well. Wow, yeah, Bearfoo nanoed up, trying to get really far in there, but Piggles finds Mook instead. It's kind of wasted. Honestly, they only find 1 for it. It gives time for University of Toronto to reset themselves. Grumpy Mook still sitting on this barrage. It's going to have to come out from this fight because there is no more after this. Piggles will have the duplicate as well, so a really important target pick here. You got to think it might be Laufey. There's a lot of forward-facing fighting happen here. You can really get that cage online quickly. Haru gets antied, though. Does not have much overhealth to work with. Has to dive back really deep. The barrage is here, not going to be used. A really well-timed duplicate. Now it's the moving barrage, but it doesn't really find much. It doesn't find any eliminations, and Piggles does find Misha, so no more of that hit scan damage. Piggles decides to go for the Brig. It was good for the survivability. Both cages are down now. The rally's online to keep the side on both sides alive. Bearfoo using that blade to pick up the kills that they need. And that is a lot of extra ults coming out from the side of TTARFan to easily close that one out. They were pushed to the limit up until the end there, certainly. But they will end up taking the win in 3-1 fashion and sending themselves to grand finals here in the Grandmaster Division.
UT put up a very good fight. Let's remember the last time these two teams played in the regular season, the first half of the regular season, it was a 3-0. So already, if nothing else, that's improvement. That's straight up improvement from the side of UT. Very, very closer games. Like this is, we kind of say this a lot, but the 3-1 I don't think really shows us how close it was. We did see a full 3-on control back in map 1. And even though once we saw, the teams kind of starting to get their roles together, Shambali was an incredible map for UT. The second half of the season is going to be very impressive. Unfortunately for UT, they'll go out, I think they get like a map or something for their play in and making it here. So that consolation and having learned a lot against the #1 seed and arguably, like you said, 2-time champion, this is the big dog here. That's a lot to learn and quite a statement to make against them.
Yeah, that shows visible improvement now, some confidence to give the University of Toronto moving forward. Remember, this is only the mid-season tournament, where this is not for all the candy here. This is definitely a big chance for these teams to get a foot up. But it's not everything. University of Toronto still have a lot that they've gained from this, even not taking home the win, not going to grand finals. They're bringing a lot of confidence back with them for the rest of the regular season. So definitely a team to keep our eye on here in the Grandmaster Division. For now, though, that is a win for big bigbigbigttarfan600. It always makes it sound like one person and not a team. But either way, they end up taking home the win. They're going to move on to the grand finals, and they're going to be going up against our winners from the other match, being that was... I'm trying to find the name here. It was, of course, RRG Varsity. We know that. Everybody knows that. It's going to be RRG Varsity versus bigbigbigttarfan600 in our grand finals. That one is going to be very exciting to watch. Actually, RRG taking their win 3-0. So coming in maybe a little bit more confident and thinking they're more dominant right now.
Yeah, I mean, Roadrunner Gaming and even their varsity squad were playing in a Grandmaster, so there's a lot of talent from these collegiate teams. Unfortunately, Roadrunner, well, I guess they are the superior collegiate, unfortunately, for tonight, because they get to move on, and UT has to go home, unfortunately. Look, it's halfway through, and we are seeing some of the most incredible play across all the divisions, so like you said, this Grand Finals is going to be a banger. We'll see it later in the week, and we've cleaned up all of our other games from the night as well, I believe.
Yeah, it should be just about done across the board. I mean, this one went 3-1, and I got to be honest with you, by the time we made it to the end of map 2, it really did feel like we had an entire set finished at that point. This was a long one. It was grueling for both of these teams. For University of Toronto to stick this one out and fight tooth and nail, even thinking that they'd be the underdog team, getting that hope within them and then pushing on even on this map pick of theirs, that King's Row. It's a great performance from them. So I think they've got a lot to be really proud of, and Big T-Tar fans still should be very confident in themselves taking this win, because University of Toronto fought really hard. That is not the only thing we have for you tonight, though. Following this match here, we do have an interview from you for you, so we are going to be taking a quick little break. But on the other side of the break, we are going to have an interview from the side of the winning team, so stick around. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. All right, welcome back in, everybody. I told you it was going to be a short break. We do not mess around when it comes to times here in CGL. Now, we do have our winners for this second game, of course, being big bigbigbigttarfan600, and we've got one of their players joining us right now. It is Bearfu, the DPS player. Bearfu, thank you for joining us. How are you doing? Congratulations on the win.
Hi, thank you so much. Yeah, it's all right. How are you?
Doing very well. Won this one in 3-1 fashion. And tonight, you specifically, I actually want to hone in on first. Don't worry, not going to grill you too much. But you ended up counterplaying some of the heroes that we would not have been expecting you to counterplay. You were focusing down that Pharah quite a bit. What was the idea behind putting you on Pharah duty tonight?
Low key, I'm just trolling. I'm a Genji one trick. I had to put myself on that character for fun. Like, I'm just having a laugh, man. We didn't really discuss any picks. We just went with whoever we wanted to go.
I mean, in a similar motion, what about the bans? Because like we were kind of talking about it. The Pharah ban won, and a lot of those later picks felt very targeted. But like, did you guys like know going into this that there was going to be a Pharah against you? Did you guys like put in the research, or were you just kind of like, look, we've done this before. We've been here a million times. Let's just vibe and try to play against our weaknesses.
We kind of just winged it as we go. We know the players on the enemy team, but we not really what they were gonna play. We saw you pick the Pharah one, the first map, and then or second map rather, and we decided, maybe we'll just ban it again. We just winged it as we went, and it went all right for us. So happy to went that way.
Yeah, well, definitely did end up going your guys' way tonight. And on that same point of the ban cycle, I actually want to flip it to your guys' side, because it seemed like you guys got targeted, especially in those first 3 games. The 4th ban was definitely less expected and came out a little bit odd, but most of those bans were very targeted at your guys' team and some of the heroes that you guys play. So what were the adaptations that you made? What was the thought process, especially starting with that first Lucio ban and then moving forward in the other maps?
Well, honestly, what happened with the Genji ban, because I did play Genji, I wanted to play Genji on Saravasa, but we didn't, or rather, I didn't know that you couldn't ban the same role.
Oh.
So we banned Maga, not expecting, and now we're like, if they ban Genji, then we'll do this and this and this, not knowing that if we ban a DPS, they couldn't ban Genji. So that's a little bit on our fault. But honestly, all their bans were not bad. Besides the Zen pick, I agree with what you guys said on stream. I think the Zen pick was a really strange one because we haven't shown much Zen before, or when we did, it wasn't really working.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think the bans of both teams were made pretty normal sense. But I think both teams were able to adapt to it just as well. So.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I mean,
now I have a really funny image in my head of Bearfu playing King's Row, watching us on stream while he's playing the game.
The true players know how to multitask like that. But look, it's late. We don't want to keep you much longer. Anybody you want to shout out? Anyone you want to send some love to before we send you on your way to celebrate and off to the grand finals?
Oh, is it grand finals next? I didn't even know.
Yeah, next is grand finals. Yeah, man, you made it. It's there already. Midway,
okay.
Midseason grand finals is already there, man.
Just a quick shout out to my team and a quick shout out to the staff that helped coordinate this event.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. You guys do a good job.
Thank you, Bearfu. Get on back there and go enjoy the rest of your night.
All right, cheers, you guys too. Good night. Thank you.
Cheers.
All right.
Speedy,
well, that is. Yeah,
it's all just vibes, man.
Tonight, I know, it really is. They're playing on vibes right now. They are high on vibes, man. That's big T. I mean, look at from their team's picture all the way to their name having like. They know it's not a gamer tag, right? You don't have to. Not only one team can have it. You don't have to put the 600. It's bigbigbigttarfan600 take the win. They're headed to grand finals. They're searching for not just a mid-season championship here at the end of this tournament. They want to go all the way and take a 3rd in a row. They want that triple crown, the 3-peat. They want it all. So thank you so much for joining me here tonight, man. It was a good one.
Yeah, before we head out, let's check out with the rest of the night because there was another game going on at CGL 1. If you came to the proper channel and watched some good quality Overwatch, Sort of Skill did take the 3-1 over Celestial Knights, and I had kind of said this earlier. Look, like if you know the caster squad floating around in that division, Sort of Skilled is, I mean, sort of is an understatement. They are a good squad. That is the #1 seed, so they are going to be a lot to watch out for. And the winners tonight, bigbigbigttarfan, will go up against the winners from our previous game there, Roadrunner Varsity, in the grand finals coming up. So I mean, a lot of incredible Overwatch here in CGL, not just tonight, but for the rest upcoming weeks as well as we finish out the mid-season.
Yeah, really fun to have this mid-season tournament here that these teams can play through. Definitely excited to see how all of these ones end. Excited to see if there's any upsets or any adjustments that teams are going to be making through the rest of the season following it as well. So definitely follow these ones through the end. You're not going to want to miss how these teams end up and how these brackets end with the winners in each division. But that is going to be it from us here tonight on CGL2 and CGL as a whole. We are closing out our Wednesday night, but we've got plenty more action throughout the weekend. So definitely come back in, stick around with us and watch some games. That's it for us tonight. My name is Speedy. This has been Sove Echo. Thank you over on production for handling everything here on our show tonight. And we will see you guys hopefully tomorrow and throughout the rest of the weekend. Take care.
Take well.